Well, happy Friday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be here with you on a Friday morning. It's about time. It's been a long week, certainly. I'd say spectacularly unspectacular week of shows. I think, but that's to be expected after the gut-wrenching performance of our local baseball team. It was just a week ago today. We were all at Twitter. And everyone's excited and ready to get home and get it started. And it's been a week, man, for sure. But thanks for being here with us. Hopefully we've been able to make you smile, maybe make you understand a little bit, make you mad, that happens too. But it sucks, man. It sucks. Just watching the Mets last night. It's the worst playoff team I've ever seen in my life, ever, in the history of the playoffs. I've never seen a team less deserving to be there, just giving up. So maybe they can rally. My guess is not. Hawk Tua is not coming through. Grimace isn't coming through. Pete Alonso needs to take a bat to his pumpkin. Do whatever you have to do, but you guys suck. You suck. The Mets suck, period. You're the worst team I've ever seen. The worst team I've ever seen. You can't field, you can't hit, you can't throw, you can't pitch. You're terrible. So that's how I'd like to start the show today. I can tell I'm in a great mood. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Rindle. He is the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie. Yeah. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Benjamin, how are you?
I'm feeling a lot of pressure now with the two of you in the, down in the dumps that I gotta bring everybody up. Paulie,
I'm not down. I'm mad.
I'm worried about Woods. He texted us yesterday. He said, "I'm feeling incapable of fun right now, and I hate it."
It's so true.
And I thought, this is not good. We need fun Woods back. And I get there's a mourning period for Padres fans, and we're probably still in it. Like you said, it's only been 1 week.
Yeah.
1 week ago, I was headed up to Dodger Stadium after the show.
Yeah.
Spirits were still high. You
nervous,
felt like
but
nervous,
good.
But you still felt like, okay, this is a good team. They bounced back from every setback all year long. They're going to do it again today. I like you, Darvish, on the mound, and you felt good. And then it was just over, and we've been trying to cope with it all week.
And make sense of it a little bit. Yeah, stages
it's hard,
of grief.
yeah.
That's exactly right.
No joy in my life.
Yeah, I'm not, it's weird because I'm not I'm not depressed or anything at home. I've been in a good mood. Like, we went to marriage counseling yesterday, and she's like, "How's everything?" We're like, "It's pretty good." Got some stuff that we're working through, with just life, but other than I'm not being like a jerk or anything like that. Hannah's not at all. Everything's good. But when I was thinking yesterday, I was driving home going, we need to do something fun on the show. And I was trying to access the creative reservoir.
I texted you guys the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I texted you guys at, 3, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I said, we need something fun for tomorrow.
I got nothing.
And that's when you sent that text.
Yeah.
You're like, I have an inability to have fun right now.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
I'm incapable of it.
Yeah, not to make light of real world tragedy and situation, but in a way, your sports team losing at the end of the season is like a death. It's something you cared about. It's something that is over. Like the 2024 Padres are over.
It's done.
They're never coming back.
Correct.
They're dead. The team as we knew it won't be the same in 2025. So there is an actual grieving and mourning period for it because you legitimately cared about that team.
Yeah.
You cared about how they did on a daily basis, in ways similar to you caring about your family. And again, I'm not trying to
No, I get it. You don't have to
say that
one,
it's nearly as important as real life or your family, but I promise you the emotions you were feeling during the season were very real. You invested a lot of your time and energy into it, and when it's gone like that, it's a real loss.
Yeah,
and that's the risk of being a sports fan. When you truly are invested, you risk real loss when your team goes out, and we're feeling that real loss this week.
I feel it's like a relationship, and more so than a death. It's like being ghosted by you meet somebody and there's an instant spark and you get to know each other. And, maybe the first few months, Ben, are really good. But there's some bad stuff, too. But there's some good stuff. And then you hit the halfway point of your relationship, and you don't know it's the halfway point. Like baseball, it's the halfway point. But in your relationship, you go, it's actually going really well. And then things start to take off. And you're starting to look and you're telling your friends and your mom and dad, I think this is it. I think I've met the one. And your mom and dad say, yeah, be careful. You've gotten burned before. You say, no, I really think this is it. As I look to the future and I look at all the pieces we have in our relationship, this is it, Mom and Dad. And then all of a sudden, 8 months in, 9 months in, she disappears and you never hear from her again. You're just sitting there going, what just happened? You're not going to get over that quickly, but yeah, it's a weird feeling. It's certainly a weird feeling. Like, you did feel like this was the one. And then you watch the Mets play and you go, yeah, this was definitely the one. You were, if you watch the Mets play the last few nights, you go, yeah, you get the sense we would have bodied this team, just bodied them. They look terrible.
Easy to say, but
Sure.
I tend to agree.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
it's not just us saying it. I've actually seen some Dodger fans go, whew, dodged a bullet, man. Dodged a bullet. Credit to the Dodgers because they've played unbelievably since that third inning and that game I was at 2 Tuesdays ago. I mean, they've played unbelievable baseball.
You get the sense that any knowledgeable baseball fan would tell you that NLDS series was for the pennant.
Yeah, that's what it should have
and
been.
And that's what really sucks.
That's what really sucks. And it does, I'm always the one that said, and trust me, I'm not saying this to like whine and cry about spilled milk. The reseed would have been pretty fun. Would have been pretty cool. Instead of, so you get the Dodgers and Padres for a longer, 7-game series, which would have been insane. But if the Dodgers played like they played the last 2 games, who's beating those guys?
Yeah, I tend to think, even if that was just you're up 3-2 and there's still potentially 2 more games to go, whatever happened, was it the Teoscar Grand Slam, whatever moment turned them around, they got going, and now they've been on a heater that's been, like the Phillies last year. That's my one, saving grace here, that if you hope the Dodgers aren't going to win the World Series, maybe it turns off just like it did for the Phillies. They looked unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they just couldn't beat the Diamondbacks for 3 straight days, and it was over.
Yep.
Unless something like that happens, though, I tend to think that, we're heading toward a Dodgers World Series title, and one that only the Padres could have and probably should have prevented. And that really is going to sting.
Yeah.
When you don't have that to lord over them anymore. And, it wasn't the Braves not getting the job done that you're mad about. It's not the Mets. It's not any other team. It's your team.
It's your team
that had the best chance to stop them. The one that everyone else that hates the Dodgers, was counting on. The Giants fans, the Diamondbacks fans that all didn't want the Dodgers to win, they were counting on the Padres to stop them. And the Padres didn't do it.
Carlos says, you can't say Padres will be up. Dodgers pitching is phenomenal. We mean, had we just won 1 out of the last 2 games, bro, we would be playing the Mets right now. And I think the Padres would have really, really pounded the Mets. But there's no way to tell. We could have made the Mets look really, really great too. But, there will come a point where it's like, all right, we're done with this crap. Let's move forward. We got a season. I'm not quite there yet. And being the sadist that I am, I'm still watching every single pitch of the Dodgers Mets. Watched the whole game last night. Actually, no, I didn't. I turned it off. What was it when it was like 10-2? What was the final?
10-2.
Yeah, I turned it off when they reached 10. I got a new episode of this brilliant show that's out. I just told you guys about it, Disclosure, and it popped up like, hey, new episode. So I go, all right, I'm gonna watch this. It's really, really good. Kate Blanchett. Whew, mama, I'm telling you. Whew, man.
Disclaimer.
It's on Apple TV.
Disclosure.
It's Disclaimer. Disclosure is a movie with Demi Moore and Michael Douglas where she sexually harasses him, which is a flip on what normally happens. It's normally the men who are the disgusting pigs, and in this case, Demi Moore goes after Michael Douglas. Have you ever seen Disclosure?
I don't think so.
Very saucy movie from I want to say the 90s. Very good movie. Very, very well done. But he's like, hey, easy. And she's like, no, I want a taste, and you're going to give it to me. Now, I think a lot of men are sitting there going, well, hey, who wouldn't like that?
Disclosure is a 1994 American erotic thriller film.
Why do I feel like a massive pervert since Paulie just said it's an erotic thriller? It's really good. So Disclaimer is, again, it's on Apple TV. Kate Blanchett, Kevin Kline, who's brilliant in this, and a woman that plays a young Kate Blanchett. Don't know who she is, but I would like to look her up. She's very, very good at her job. And she got me last night real good. So I made the decision to turn the game off to watch that. There's like 4 or 5 episodes out right now. It's a really brilliant show. Whew, man, just thinking about that one scene. You'll know when you see it. You'll know exactly what
See,
I'm
now the
talking
show
about.
I've been watching is not erotic at all.
What is it?
I've been watching The Penguin, which I think is actually really, really good. With Colin Farrell, it's outstanding. No, I promise you,
Commissioner Gordon?
it's actually really, really good. And it doesn't sound quite like that.
It's like the least erotic show ever, maybe. The Penguin.
The Penguin.
I have seen him in the I have seen him in the Penguin getup. It's incredible.
It's amazing. The transformation is amazing.
Because he's literally one of the best-looking human beings on the planet. Colin Farrell, Man Crush, the whole thing. I would do a Kike Hernandez celebration with Colin Farrell. I just have always loved him. I've always thought he was the coolest guy, so sharp. And then they put him in all this makeup. He also said it was one of the worst experiences of his life, having to do
I've
that.
got to imagine every single day, like on set, getting into that get-up and into that character. But it is a really good show. I think they're 4 episodes in now, and I'm like, oh, now I can't wait until the next one comes out.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm there's some good stuff out there if you don't want to watch baseball, but I'm not quite done. I said to my wife this morning as I was walking out, I said, well, there's 2 more games tonight. And she just goes, she gave me the Adam Klug sigh. She goes, I go, yeah, sorry. I'm going to be watching both of them. Nothing I can do about it. But we were treated yesterday to perhaps a top 3 playoff game in the history of playoff games. I can't. I'm off the top of my head. I can't think of one better because it's recency bias. But oh my God, dude, I have never ever seen anything like what I saw yesterday that went down in Cleveland, and we will talk about that this morning certainly because it was outstanding.
Incredible.
Go watch Disclosure though, and if you're a man, just watch it alone.
We will set the menu.
And disclaimer, sorry. Also, Disclosure is fine too.
Yeah.
You can watch them both. They're both erotic, Paulie.
Erotic thriller films.
If you want erotic thrillers, then watch Disclosure and Disclaimer. Okay? Don't watch it with your kids, I'll tell you that. Or like with your parents.
Which one's worse? Parents, right?
Oh, parents is way
Parents
worse.
for sure.
Yeah, you can explain it away. Oh, them? Oh, they're just having fun.
It's the child who feels the most awkward in that situation. I think when they're watching something like that with their parents.
Yeah, it's funny because you do the thing to your kids where, like, if there's boobs on the TV or something, you're like, oh, don't look over there, and they get all embarrassed or whatever. Like we were watching something recent it was on, and there was a naked scene, and I looked at Bo. I was like, don't be looking at that, and he gets so red. I'm like, uh-oh, turn that off. But
I think I've told you before. This is probably 10 years ago now. Whenever Wolf of Wall Street was out in theaters,
oh my God,
I had a buddy text me from Idaho, and he goes, hey, have you seen Wolf of Wall Street? It'd probably been out for like a week or 2, maybe even longer. And I go, oh yeah,
so good.
yeah, I've seen it. He goes, Margot Robbie. I'm like, oh yeah.
My Lord,
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah. He goes, yeah, I went and saw that with my mom and dad in theaters. I go, oh no, oh no,
Oh,
no,
dude,
no,
it's
no,
so-
no.
You know what scene that Paulie's talking about, and holy smokes.
I mean,
there's like
many
4
scenes.
scenes. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I couldn't tell you the last time I went to a theater with my parents.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
long
I mean,
time.
probably pre-12 years old was probably the last time I went to a
Yeah.
movie with my parents. So
It's amazing.
I haven't been to a movie theater in general, and
yeah.
since before the pandemic.
I took Bo to see Top Gun 2, and we made it 30 minutes. So that was cool. Like father, like son.
All right, we will we'll set the menu for a Friday edition of Men and Woods when we come back. Hopefully, we can get Woods to rediscover fun
Just looking
at some
for
point in the next 4 hours.
looking for fun in all the wrong
That's
places.
do you need me to read a fake promo or something?
Maybe,
something to cheer you up.
I don't know.
I would like you to rediscover your
We had a
fun.
funny promo
Your
yesterday.
promo
Side.
yesterday was really good.
Oh, we can play that when we come back before we set the menu. with Ben Woods. Kelly's got traffic here on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
So, after the show every single day, we have to record essentially like a 12-second promo for the next day's show. I'm sure you hear them play during the day.
Coming up on Friday, we'll have our pal Jordan Schusterman joining us at 8:35.
It's the simplest, easiest task you could imagine, and also somehow the most difficult thing that we've ever done in our lives.
It's also one of the things, like, everybody has things they look forward to every day, and everyone has things that they dread. I don't know why I dread it. It's 8 seconds. It should be moronically easy. The fact that we have to trudge back there and do it is one of those things where I'm like,
Yeah,
like
it's a 15-second
15-second promo,
but the first 3 seconds are
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
all right, that eats up some of it.
right.
7 to 8 seconds of talking, and then it ends with
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 on
Now-
97.3 The Fan.
And we got to fill just the in-between part of that with something every day.
Yeah. Do you have the raw, or do you just have the edit?
I just have the edit.
The edit. The raw was.
But like you hear it in our Friday Open, that started with a promo
Right.
from a Thursday after a show.
Yep.
Hey, coming up on Friday.
Coming up on a Friday.
Save that. That was
We
one of
just
the
made that
days.
our Friday Open.
That was our Friday. Yeah, we just were trying to get one done on a Thursday, and Ben says coming up on a Friday. Meant to obviously say Friar Friday, but you said Friday, and it's always made me laugh every time. Yesterday was also, I would say it's in the consideration for a Hall of Famer because I laughed so
Well,
hard.
it's very difficult. All right, we've just been on the air for 4 hours.
Yes.
It's very difficult to be dynamic for 8 seconds,
So
just
true.
in a normal circumstance. Plus,
we don't
we're
know.
talking about a show tomorrow that
Right.
we don't know what we're talking about tomorrow.
Like the second we leave this studio at 9:56,
Nothing's happened. We're going to talk about something that hasn't happened yet.
It's
And we
the
don't-
worst part
like,
of it.
You know what would have been a great promo yesterday? Hey, coming up on the show tomorrow, we're going to talk about that insane game between the Guardians and the
Right,
Yankees. But we can't because it hasn't happened yet. So we don't know.
I had a boss in radio. He's not here anymore. Like, he's alive, but he's not here
He's
anymore.
no longer with us.
And he would do the thing where he's like, "Hey, I noticed that you do your show and then you leave." And I go, "Yeah." And what do you want me to do? He's like, "Well, you really should be show prepping." I go, "Nothing's happened. What do you want me to prep? Like, what do you want? You want eyewash? You want me sitting around here shuffling papers around? My life is on the air, and I can't live my life if I'm sitting in here pretending to work." Oh, he and I used to go. I mean, we used to bang heads about it.
Dude,
And
the
I'm
wedding
like,
I was at last week talking to some friends, and they're like, "Oh, so like, what do you? So when you get off the air, like, then what do you do
Go
around the
home.
radio?" I'm like, "I go home." They're like, "And you just work from home?" I'm like,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you're working all day. I'm like, we do a sports show. We can't get ready for a show until the sports happen.
you got to see sports, whatever. Unless something major, right? Something breaks at the end of our show, then we can go in and go, "Oh my God, coming up tomorrow, we'll talk about that bombshell
Right.
Ken Rosenthal article," right? But nothing's happened.
When the Padres would make a big signing at 10:01,
Yes.
we can preview that. But
Yeah, 100%.
nothing happened yesterday, so
Yes. So yesterday's promo was, a bit of a grind because we're like, all right, well, what do we got? So here's what we
Ben
came
and
up with.
Woods on the Fan.
Coming up on Friday. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get loose on a Friday, have some fun.
we'll still talk some baseball too with the playoffs continuing.
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 on 97.3
See,
The
I was
Fan.
begging to have some fun,
You were.
and now I am actually
And
having some fun.
we will talk about the playoffs
that
continuing. Talk some baseball too with the playoffs continuing. There's nothing dynamic about talking about something continuing.
But it was the fact that you sound like you were sipping on rum the whole show and then decided to go in and do a promo.
Honestly, I just-
loose on a Friday, have some fun.
We'll still talk some baseball too with the playoffs continuing. I heard it coming out of my mouth and just like it depressed me, like how bad and uninteresting it sounded. And that's what I was like, oh no, that's just,
Continuing.
this is bad. It's just bad.
And he goes, "This sucks."
That sucked.
One more time.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
Coming up on Friday. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get loose on a Friday, have some fun.
We'll still talk some baseball, too, with the playoffs continuing.
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 on 97.3 The Fan.
I did need that, man. I did need that.
And you guys were ready to do it again. I'm like, that's actually really funny. Let's just roll with that.
Let's just roll with it, dude. That was great.
All right, well, we've already come through with your half of the promo because this is getting loose on a Friday. We're
like
now
it loose.
officially getting loose on a Friday. And we will actually talk about the baseball playoffs continuing coming up in our next segment, actually. I want to get to it quickly today because, well, it was as good of a playoff game as you're going to see. I mean, you can split hairs about which playoff games are your favorite. That was an unbelievable game. We've collected some calls, English, Spanish, of some of the unbelievable back and forth between the Yankees and Guardians yesterday. So I want to get into that game. And then we will talk some Padres as well. We discussed the starting rotation. We will also talk about the bullpen now today, which is in fairly good shape. It's not going to look exactly the same as it did last year, but I would say going into 2025 in a much better spot than it was going into 2024.
I would say it's a strength.
It's one reason for optimism, actually, next year is what they have coming back in the bullpen. So we'll do that. Take on Woods at 7:10. Don't do this at 7:20. At 8 o'clock, Jordan Schusterman will be with us to talk playoffs from Cespedes Family Barbecue and Yahoo Sports as we continue our weekly conversations there. We'll also talk some contract extensions. We discussed Luis Ariz yesterday. No, I'm fine.
Get that run again?
No, I'm good. We discussed Luis Ariz after his surgery and what a contract extension might look like for him. What about Michael King? What about Dylan Cease? Are we really fine with the Padres not re-signing Dylan Cease? We kind of went down that path yesterday, but you don't generally get Dylan Ceases in your organization and just say goodbye to them without exploring every avenue of trying to keep them. So how could the Padres structure deals to try to keep those guys in the fold long term?
Yeah, and I want to hear from the junior GMs out there as well today. We'll probably rip some calls, hear from you guys on kind of how you're feeling a week later and what because at some point, I know AJ Preller and I know the ownership, they're not sitting around with their feet up.
Morning, guys.
Morning. Bummed out about what went on. They're bummed. There's no doubt. It stings, but there's also a season that's coming, and you have to have a complete roster, and you have a payroll you got to figure out, and there's really no off days for those guys, and they probably took the week to decompress a little bit, but you got to imagine they're going to be cranking it up here pretty soon. But I want to hear from you guys out there on what you think they need to do this year, and we'll talk about kind of where we stand.
Ryle Report. I've got my super sexy Saturday college football lineup for you in our 9 o'clock hour as well. It's an erotic thriller, actually.
Yes, it is.
And then we'll turn things over to Annie and Elston at 10 o'clock. So there is your menu. We'll come back. What a game it was last night. It's the kind of game that we wish the Padres were still playing this week, honestly. Didn't happen, but it happened for the Guardians yesterday. Will it turn around their series as well? They're still down 2-1. Talk about that when we come back with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You don't really see the great games necessarily coming. Sometimes you're set up and, hey, it's a game 7, 2 really great teams, 2 terrific pitchers going at it, and you anticipate greatness. But last night in Cleveland, even into the 8th inning, there was really not a huge sign that was going to be an all-time great game. The Guardians were up 3-1, correct, going into the top of the 8th inning.
Correct.
It was, for all intents and purposes, just another normal playoff game. Maybe one that gets Cleveland back in the series. They hold serve at home for a game, see if they have a chance to tie things up. And then in the last 3 innings, absolute bedlam. Bedlam.
Beyond. I can't imagine. I mean, I was at the game last Tuesday where, Padres broke out for 6 runs, and it was just insane. Teoscar answers at 6-5. And then you sat through 6 innings of the most excruciating baseball of your entire life. It was excruciating to be at that game. I stared at the concrete most of the night, had my hoodie on. It was awful. You think about the Guardian fans last night and the range of emotions that they went through blowing that lead, to Aaron Judge with their all-world closer, Emmanuel Clase, on the bump. Giancarlo Stanton coming through and giving them the lead, Ben, was unbelievable theater.
All right, we will get into what happened yesterday in the American League Championship Series. First, a quick check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Alta Beauty. Looking pretty good on our roads this time, guys. We do still have this stalled car on the Mira Mesa Boulevard off-ramp southbound 15. Tow truck is on scene helping to hook that up, get it out of there. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows that crash has cleared on westbound 52 before Convoy, so speed's looking better there. The Emerald City came to Alta Beauty with wicked collaborations from REM Beauty by Ariana Grande. It brushes for Alta and OPI Korean. These fantabulous products won't last long. See Wicked November 22nd, only in theaters. Alta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So, the 8th inning yesterday, Yankees are getting, kind of desperate. It's 3-1, but they know they've got their big boppers coming up, and they get, I forget, how did they get a runner on in front of Aaron Judge?
Juan Soto walked.
Amazing. What a shocking development that Juan Soto walks and gives Judge a chance. So if you're a Yankees fan, this is what you're hoping for. But he's going to have to face what is generally considered to be the game's nastiest pitcher, at least nastiest relief pitcher.
5 earned runs in all of 20.
But did give up that home run, earlier in the postseason. So who knows? I mean, you've got a hope at least that Aaron Judge runs into one. So Judge against Emmanuel Clase, and when the ball left the bat, I mean, I knew it was hit hard, but it didn't look like home run height. Let's just say that. I'm curious to hear because we have John Sterling's call, and I haven't heard it yet. So this was John Sterling, voice of the Yankees in the 8th inning.
We just have I have the
The TV call?
no, I don't have the judge call.
Oh, I thought you did have the judge
No, I told
call.
you I have Noel.
Oh, you have the Sterling calls of the
And Fry.
sad.
Yes, I have
okay.
sad
All right,
John.
Sad.
That's all right. So
I could find
Hits-
Happy John Sterling.
hits the line drive. We don't have to find it. We maybe we'll find it later. I didn't think he was going out. I thought it was hit hard, but that was
maybe
one of
off
those
the
base
wall.
of the wall,
Yeah.
type shots.
By the way, a 99-mile-an-hour cutter on the black away. And Aaron Judge, again, Stephen Vogt, Guardians manager, said this after the game. I think there's one person that could hit that pitch off of Emmanuel Clase out of the yard, and he did. As a baseball fan, it was really cool. As the opposing manager, it was not. I love Stephen Vogt. What a year he's had in his first season as a big league manager. I mean, it was classic. And game's tied. And so you're sitting there. Clase looks stunned. The Guardians fans look devastated. Devastated. They're panning to the crowd, and it's just a look of disbelief.
And the 1-2 swung on and drilled to right field. That ball is going to be gone.
Yeah, surprise.
There's a line drive and it went over the right field fence. It's a Judgian blast. The Yankee dugout goes nuts. They're all on the field.
It actually wasn't a Judgian blast.
It wasn't. It was
Judgy and rope.
It was and I'm not surprised the call was like that. John Sterling didn't do anything wrong. He looked at it and goes, "Oh, that was hit hard," but didn't have the sense that it would be a home run. So yeah, they go bonkers. They're on the field. Before you've even really finished celebrating, though, Giancarlo Stanton then comes up, and he has been. I don't know what it is about the playoffs and Giancarlo Stanton. He and Kike Hernandez
Built for it, man.
must just have some sort of regimen that works in October and not the rest of the year necessarily. He follows, got Clase on the ropes and gives the Yankees a 4-3 lead. They add an insurance run then to take a 5-3 lead. So go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Guardians get the lead runner on, but then hit into a double play. Naylor grounds into a double play. So 2 outs.
2 outs.
Nobody on. And they're down to their last strike with Lane Thomas at the plate. And he actually does get a hold of one. That one looked like it might be a home run. Hits off the very top of the high wall out in left field. Doesn't matter. They just needed a base runner in any way to keep the game going. So he doubles. So now you do have the tying run coming to the plate, but it's Jhonkensy Noel, who is, I believe, a rookie, right?
He is.
It's a rookie. Has not homered since late August, I think. Was it like August 26th was his last home run?
23-year-old. He's hit 13 homers. And massive struggles. I mean, massive struggles. He's a rookie.
And he's facing
out.
Luke Weaver,
Yep.
who's been really solid for the Yankees after they put him in the closer's role a few weeks ago. Really, really good with the game on the line. And I think you said it as well. One of the best radio calls. You want to do TV first, radio? What order do you want to
TV
go?
first,
All right, we'll do
and then
TV. They
radio.
were all good, but this is the TV
Is it
call.
Brian Anderson?
Yep, Brian
on
Anderson.
Brian
TBS?
Anderson was the
He's
yeah.
elite, too.
Oh my goodness! Big Christmas
Big Christmas.
has tied it! The ultimate present under the tree! Oh my goodness!
Change up. And when he hit it, you knew it. Everybody
He knew
knew
it.
it. Everybody knew it. It is the dream of every person that's ever played baseball to be called upon to pinch hit, to tie the game, win the game, whatever, and get a change up right in the middle of the plate. And he was absolutely on time for it, and he didn't miss it, man. He did not miss it. Hit it
Big
a
Christmas
ton.
is an elite nickname.
Oh, yeah,
for,
Big Christmas is
for
elite.
a guy named Noel.
Yeah.
Had that recoil bat flip, the one where you just flip the wrist back and it's just gone.
Yeah.
Bill in the
Oh.
chat says, great call. Big Christmas Noel. Reminds me of Padres Franmil Reyes.
Yeah, the
A
Franimal.
little bit. The Franimal.
Yeah, there's a similarity there. The violent swing, man, is just it's just so perfect, and you could throw any of us that pitch 100 times, nobody's hitting it out of the infield. I mean, it's just like he was just right on time for it, bodied it, barreled it, sent it into the stands, and the place went nuts. Now, you still have to win that game. The Yankees are still a really good team. and you still have to figure out a way to win that game. But we cannot pass without playing the radio call. Tom
Hamilton.
Tom Hamilton, the legend.
Very long time radio announcer for the Guardians.
Holy smokes.
Swung out and hammered. High, deep to left. Away out of here. Bedlam in Cleveland. John Kenzie Noel. A tape measure job to the bleachers and left. We are tied at 5.
Unbelievable, man.
I mean, the joy in that moment when you feel like it's
Swung
over.
out and hammered. High, deep to left. Away out of here.
So good.
Makes me smile.
I got chills watching it, listening to it. I was watching it with my kids. Bo was just like, you got to be kidding me. I go, that is absolutely electric.
But it may not have even been the best call. We do have the Spanish language call of that one by Jean Kenzie Noel as well.
Feliz Navidad. So then you go to the 10th inning, and you have to, again, what a moment. But now that you've tied it, you're like, we can't let this one slip away.
Yeah.
We have to win this game. Yankees immediately come back and threaten. And Andres Jimenez turns in one of the best plays I've ever seen. Ball hit to his left. He goes up the middle, and he's got a pivot and throw. He ends up flat on his back out in right field and makes a throw to Josh Naylor, of all people, who has been much maligned by Guardians fans, by the national media. I mean, he swings at literally everything that comes close to the plate. He's the one that hit into the double play the inning before, Ben. He turned in a play that we've watched 50 times, like there's a Zapruder film. Did he hold his foot? Did he not? Turns out he did.
Yeah, he scraped it along the top right as he was making the catch, which there was a runner on that advanced to second. This is all with former Padre Pedro Avila on the mound, the guy who was like the 13th pitcher for the Padres in 2023. Is now in the highest of high leverage situations for the Guardians. Struck out Judge to start the inning. Yeah. Walked Stanton. That great play by Jimenez. And then they intentionally walk Anthony Rizzo.
Yep.
And he strikes out Volpe to end the inning. So,
walks off the mound like
Pedro Avila now in line maybe to get a win. The biggest game he's ever pitched in his career. And they go to the bottom of the 10th. Bo Naylor singles.
Which is crazy in its own right. Bo Naylor's not hitting at all. They have a bunch of catchers that don't hit.
They sacrifice him over to second.
Yep.
And then on a comebacker, he moves to third. But now there's 2 outs, so you can't score on a fly ball. You've got to get a hit somewhere. And it's David Fry, who's already had some postseason heroics already for the Guardians, in against Clay Holmes. And here's what it sounded like.
Fry, deep drive, left field. Fry's watching. It is a walk-off home run. David Fry lights up the Cleveland night.
Literally lit it up. They had a lot of fireworks and everything that went off after that game. But, season saving, at least temporarily season saving. You go down 3-0. It's about, as close to elimination as possible. Yeah. So what an absolutely incredible moment for the Guardians, for David Fry, for John Kenzie Noel. What else do we have, Paulie, on the walk-off with both of the other
Tom
ones?
Hamilton
All right, let's hear Tom Hamilton.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to left. There she goes. How about that? A walk-off, 2-run home run to the bleachers and left by David Fry. And the magical 2024 season is not done by any means.
I'm guessing John Sterling's call was a little bit
not as happy.
That'll be a 1-2 to Fry. Pitch swung on, a high fly to deep left. Verdugo back on the track at the wall. She's gone. A 2-run home run to win the game for Cleveland. They're back in it. So David Fry hits one over the high wall in left and the Indians win the game in 10, 7-5 in what is really, win or lose, a fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic.
That's a great call.
Great call.
Other than the fact he called them the Indians, but
He's not the only one. I saw,
he is like 80-something years old.
I saw David Poppy.
I'll give him a little pass.
David Poppy. Big Poppy, David Ortiz, called them the Indians like 7 times in a row yesterday as they were previewing that game. But it's why I don't stop watching baseball when my favorite team's not in it. It's that is the reason. Now, I'm a fan of playoffs in most other sports. Nothing comes close to that for me, at least. The NFL playoffs, the NBA playoffs, hockey's pretty interesting if you have a favorite team. It's also excruciating, but that to me is just, you're down to your last strike, and you're out of it, man. You're done. And now they have life. There was a video that a guy posted. He was like, I think, 5 blocks away or something from what do they call
Progressive
it?
Field.
Yeah, he used to call it the Jake. Progressive Field, and he's on a rooftop, and he takes the video, and it shows you just kind of hear the din of the crowd, and then you can hear in the distance, and then you hear even more, and then the fireworks go off, and I showed it to Hannah, and she goes, I'm so jealous. I go, I know. I am so stinking jealous of what they got to live through last night.
It's I love all the playoffs, but you're right in that baseball has those crowd galvanizing moments that they don't come as often in a football or a basketball game. In a basketball game, you need basically a buzzer beating 3 or a huge shot in the last minute for that to happen, which is amazing
sick when that happens.
Football is excruciating in that it's one game.
Yes, that's the worst part.
And you spend all week thinking about
one game.
It's
like a game
and
7
it'll
every
probably
time.
come down to a drive for one
Sure.
team or the other. So it's incredibly entertaining, but again, I don't think you can recreate moments like that in baseball. And they don't come in every game, obviously.
Right. You're going to get your, you're going to get your Hail Marys. You're going to get your. The thing about football too, I always feel like there's always some huge penalty that turns the tide, and you're like, all right, so you got a call there. Now what can you do with it? So it's just different, man. I mean, again, talking about Luke Weaver and Emmanuel Clase, 2 of the best to do it right now, both serving it up. Both serving it up yesterday, and it was staggering. Clase was in his feelings. You see what he did after the game? I think he might have had a few beers because that dude put on every single ring he has from like his awards that he's won, and he's like Instagramming his hand with all his rings and all his awards of like
some really big I'm still good energy going on here.
Something like, it was like, see, I guess people were ripping him or something, but he was like, see, I'm not done yet. Like, where's our Ben and Woods best of awards, Paulie? I'm gonna use those if people start being mean.
Before we wrap this up, though, we still have the Spanish call of the walk-off. I don't know how they could top the Jean-Kenzie Noel, but let's finish with the Spanish language Guardians
it's a good
broadcast.
one. Not as much singing, but it's still a great one.
Que batea el largo, el batazo por el jardín izquierdo. Esa pelota se va y se puede cuadrangular. David Fry una vez más, tomando control, dice boom.
He said boom, and it was over. I thought Aaron Boone as well. You talked about Stephen Vogt. He said
the same thing.
He had pretty much the same thing. Like, it obviously stings to lose, but we just played in one of the great postseason games, and I think that's the way you have to approach that. If you're the Yankees, you're still up 2-1.
Yeah, you can't get on your press conference and be like,
I'm going like, hey guys, they needed a
miracle.
magic to beat us. Let's just go out and get the job done today. That was fun for them. Hopefully it'll be fun for us. Looking back, we got to play in one of those games, but now
Aaron
it's just
Boone too. Him in particular. Can't think of any other manager currently in baseball that hit a walk-off postseason.
Yes.
home run. He knows what it's like. He's been on both sides now.
You can't really rip either manager, at all, because, like, for Boone, stop running the bases like drunks. They had another guy picked off yesterday. They're killing themselves with errors too. Rizzo had 2 errors, so they got to clean it up.
All right, we'll come back. I want to talk some Padres bullpen and more. Take on Woods next year on 97.3 The Fan.
I was like, are we out? Is this happening? Everyone in the chat.
Are we back?
Hey, are we back? Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Little
I think we're back.
technical difficulties. Please stand by a moment here at our Odyssey studios. But apparently, hopefully, we're back on the air. Tap, tap, tap. Hello, is this thing on?
Showing my awards on
Welcome
the stream,
back.
like Emmanuel Classe last night.
So, yeah, whatever happened, somehow we played a Boomer and Valenti Open for the 7 o'clock hour, which was apparently some sort of booby trap that caused the entire station to go off the air.
Yeah, Frank said, he said, you guys are changing your format to Christian Dodger Talk. Yeah, it's a format flip, and we are going to Christian Dodger Talk.
Well, you actually discussed the entire Dodger game already. You missed it the last couple of minutes.
They can hear us. These are not hot mics, guys. We're broadcasting. So
yeah, we are actually, this is just bad radio. That's not hot mics. This is actually on the air bad radio. So anyway, we are back. Unfortunately, the Dodgers have combined what has been really, really good pitching now with Mookie Betts is hot and Shohei Ohtani is hot. And unless something changes, Woods, in, the next couple of days, they are well on their way toward winning that full season World Series that has eluded them since 1988.
Yeah, I mean, unless they get norovirus or something, I mean, it looks really good. They look really, really good. Again, hence why normal, rational people pick them to be the favorites to win the World Series because they are deep, they are talented, they are wealthy, all of the above. And I do understand losing a pitcher here or there down the road, and that sets you back. But you also still have really good players that you acquired to help you win a World Series.
Yeah, they're putting it all together at the right time here. Yeah, they've gotten enough starting pitching to go with an absolute devastating bullpen, and now a lineup that is both deep, hot, and patient.
Yeah.
And we saw the patience on display yesterday. The Mets simply could not throw enough strikes to get the Dodgers out. They were consistently on the bases. Max Muncy, set a new record with 12 straight times reaching base.
He just turned into Ted Williams.
8 or 9
something.
of those were walks. He just, he's not swinging out of the zone, as are several of their other players. They all seem to be
They're locked in.
Locked in right now. And
they have outscored the Mets 30-9. That is a plus 21 run differential, which I know is your favorite stat. They are walking 8-9 times a game. And you kind of feel that there's no way you're able to win a game like that, Benny, if you're not playing absolutely elite defense, which the Mets are not. If you're not taking advantage of pitches down the middle, which they were not yesterday. It's not like, again, they had chances the last two nights, could not do one thing with it. Nothing. And you're talking about a lineup with, hey, listen, remember everyone ripped on the Padres for losing to a Dodgers team with Freddie Freeman out of the lineup? What did they throw up that night? 8? And look at him last night. No Freddie Freeman in the lineup. No problem. Tommy Edman was a massive pickup for them at the deadline. He's hitting in the hole last night.
They're scoring 8 to 10 most games. They're giving up 0 to 2 most games.
That's a really good recipe.
Really hard combination to beat. The Mets had the one game where they got off to a good start. And, again, that's their only hope because you can't play from behind against that team with the bullpen arms they can bring in. There are very few pathways right now to beating the Dodgers. The only thing that I can think of is if they wrap up the series tonight in Game 5 and the Guardians and Yankees, play a hard-fought series, the Dodgers will have to sit around a week until the start of the World Series next Friday. And anything can happen when you don't play for a week. That's why they always complain about the bye between the wild card series and the division series. Well, that's a week-long bye as well. Not even quite a week. So this would be a long stretch, and you probably want to keep playing when you're as hot as the Dodgers are. But when those are the straws you are grasping for, maybe time off is what's going to really derail their train. It's a freight train, and it's out of control right now. And they're doing it without Glass now. They're doing it without Gonsolin and May, all the pitchers that they could have. And, they're probably going to have Ohtani in their starting rotation next year. So
I think is the only bright spot about Ohtani in the rotation next year is that he's not going to hit 59 home runs.
I guess.
That's like the only bright spot you can look at. And you never know. Things change year to year. I did not think, after watching all the Dodgers teams the last decade or so, I really didn't think this was the most complete team. But you look at how they started playing and when they decided to start playing this way, Padres being a nice little springboard for them, and you look at that and go, yeah, these are way better than the Justin Turner, Clayton Kershaw teams. Way better. I mean, they're playing the best baseball that they could possibly play right now, and they're getting contributions from mostly everybody in their lineup. I mean, Will Smith has still had 2 hits, but it doesn't really matter when Tommy Edman's getting knocks and Kike Hernandez is hitting big home runs, and Mookie Betts is going 4 for 5, and Ohtani he scored 4 runs last night. That's the beauty of having 3 MVPs at the top.
They were beatable when you were mostly containing Shohei, Mookie was ice cold, and the starting pitching was a big question mark.
Yeah.
None of those things are true anymore. It makes the Dodgers virtually unbeatable at this point.
And as much as it pains me to do it, I have to credit Dave Roberts with managing this team very well. very, very well. I mean, it's been the best version of Dave I've seen ever. And pushing all the right buttons. And again, pushing the buttons and your guys coming in and executing is just paramount. So they look like a juggernaut right now, man. They really do.
Yeah,
It'd be tough to see anybody else winning the World
We
Series.
may not like the buttons he has pushed,
But they're the right ones.
They've worked for his team. And to do it, without Freddie Freeman, who sat yesterday. I mean, Tommy Edman drove in 3. Yamamoto has clicked in terms of his last couple of starts, the one against the Padres, the one yesterday. Not perfect, but more than they needed, essentially. And the Mets had a couple of chances. They had the Mark Vientos home run. They loaded the bases again, still came up with no runs, and that was, I think, pretty much it for the Mets, probably in the series.
Yeah.
They had their chances.
They're
It didn't
toast.
work out.
They are absolutely
So
toast.
Game 5 is today. That's the early game, 2:08. Jack Flaherty is going to go against David Peterson, who's kind of been a 2-3 inning guy for them out of the bullpen, but they're going to go with the best that they've got, and that's the best that they've got right now for this game. And then the Yankees Game 4 against the Guardians is 5:08 on TBS, and it's going to be Luis Gil against Gavin Williams, a true number 4 starters matchup in Game 4. Neither of those guys have started, basically since, the middle of September, I think. So it's kind of a, what are you going to get? Gavin Williams has not been good, especially at home this year. So the Guardians are really rolling the dice in this game. But if they do win, they can tie the series, and then it's anyone's ball game. Heel is a big question mark, I think, he was good early in the year, but kind of, I think, dropped off on the second half of the season. So this is a bit of a mystery game for the Yankees and the Guardians. All right, we'll take a timeout. We can play Take on Woods a little bit later. I'm not sure what our technical status is. Paulie's been working feverishly with engineers.
1 minute, we should be good.
I haven't even called for contestants yet. So why don't we 1 minute before we can go to break, or 1 minute before we can do anything at all?
1 minute before we go to break.
All right, we can talk for a minute. Woods. We'll have Don't Do This is coming up next, including a story about a cocaine ring and a former Olympic athlete.
Well, you piqued my interest.
I thought I might.
Got a former NFL quarterback arrested for DUI and possession of a weapon. Drunk driving with a weapon in your car is not going to be a good look.
And we will get into I think the Padres' strengths heading into 2025, and that'll be the bullpen that they have coming back. And it's not just the names that you kind of know, but there's some depth. There's some names that are coming up that seem like they could be good arms. Some we got a little bit of a preview of this season. Others we haven't even seen on the big league level, but it is definitely an area where the Padres can deal from a point of strength this offseason. I don't know if you are willing to trade any of it, but I imagine there will be other teams that are going look at all those arms. We could use a Stephen Kolek or someone to help our bullpen that is kind of thin.
I don't know how many GMs around the league are saying we could use a Stephen Kolek right now, but you never know.
You never know.
AJ's moved worse pieces than Stephen Kolek.
I would say so. So we will talk about all of that coming up. First, we'll come back and get into Don't Do This, and we'll figure out a new spot for Take on Woods a little bit later. Are you ready, Paulie?
Was that that an Adam that he?
Oh, yeah.
No. All right. We will.
We should go ahead.
Well, we can roast him and Don't Do This. How about when we come back?
Should we roast him for the big roast that we've been sitting on?
Yeah.
I think that might be warranted now.
Paulie was a little mad that we didn't do it already, but you're not going to want to miss this.
I wasn't
guys.
mad. I was surprised.
You're not going to miss. You don't want to miss this.
He's in our chat.
He's in our chat. So. Adam, you.
Should I ban him from the chat for time?
Adam, you wanted
Put
it.
him in timeout.
You wanted it.
Now you're getting it.
It's coming.
After traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, trying to get things back to normal here.
I think we're back. We're
with
good.
a little bit of don't do this after our technical difficulties. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us.
They didn't bear with us. They were screaming at us.
That's true. That's a good point.
Are you kidding? There was no bearing with us. But it's good. It's good that when you go off the air, people get mad at you and they want you back. So,
Yeah, that's true. The worst thing when you go off the air is
no one
everyone
says
going,
anything.
What? I didn't know you went off the air.
I don't listen. I have no idea. Nobody knew. If a tree falls in the forest, nobody hears it. This could be potentially the most insane don't do this segment of all time, based on the final story.
It's what's better than the Hall of Fame? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
what's better
it's
than
the GOAT.
the commissioner?
It's the number one.
This is it.
Don't do this.
We have found it. The number one.
In 6 years of don't do this.
And it's in-house. But I'll get us started. I woke up this morning to a really disturbing mugshot of Smokin' Jay Cutler. You guys remember Smokin' Jay Cutler?
Absolutely.
Jay Cutler, quarterback of the Bears. Just
Hmm.
never seen really I don't think I've ever seen a more disinterested athlete. Good arm, good arm, won some games, but he just, every time they would pan to him, he'd be like, it looked like he could not care less. Not a big eyewash guy, apparently, Jay Cutler. Somebody made a website years ago they called it Smokin' Jay Cutler. So they'd find all those pictures of him. They just put lit cigarettes in his mouth. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my whole life. I loved it. I went to it every day.
I remember the picture his then wife posted of his bare butt on a balcony.
Yes.
That went viral.
Well, he was arrested last night for DUI and gun possession in Tennessee. He was driving intoxicated in Franklin. He is also accused of failure to exercise due care and violation of implied consent law. So he was released from the Williamson County Jail. He posted a $5,000 bond and is now in some trouble. It just, listen, don't drive. If you drink, don't drive.
And then don't have a gun with you at the same time.
Yeah.
Also, even in Tennessee, apparently, they have standards, I guess.
Yes.
That's nothing compared to this. Don't do this. Involving a former professional and Olympic snowboarder from Canada. His name is Ryan Wedding, and apparently after he finished his snowboarding career, he got into a different kind of snow. Woods. He got into a cocaine ring.
Why'd you say my name?
Because I'm talking to you.
Okay.
I'm just talking to you. His name is Ryan Wedding, and he is accused and on the run right now. He is wanted for running a massive and violent drug trafficking operation, routinely shipping hundreds of kilos of cocaine and ordering people to be killed in the process. He is like a true drug lord.
Like a drug lord.
And the picture of him from his snowboarding days, he couldn't look like more like the normal. Well, he's all Canadian, but
all
just
all Canadian.
Normal,
Do they say
just
that
like
in Canada.
Canadian.
He's
He's just an all Canadian guy. Looks like a normal Canadian guy. Now his mugshot that the FBI released, he looks a little more haggard. Maybe that happens when you've been running a drug ring for several years.
I would say that moving 60 tons of cocaine per year will do that to you.
So according to the reports from the FBI, to see their operation through, Wedding and an associate allegedly ordered violent crimes, including 2 murders of family members in Ontario, Canada, in retaliation for an intercepted drug shipment that was passing through here in Southern California, and allegedly ordered another murder over a drug debt. Yeah, it's cocaine that's coming up from Colombia through Mexico to stash houses in Los Angeles, and then to couriers that bring it to Canada via semi-trucks, and he's running this whole thing. Officials have seized more than 1 ton of cocaine, $255,000 in currency, $3.2 million in crypto, firearms, ammunition. He's been charged with 8 felonies, 2 counts of conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, 1 count of conspiracy to export cocaine, 1 count of leading a continuing criminal enterprise, 3 counts of murder and drug crime, and 1 count of attempted murder in connection with a drug crime. But he is wanted. They don't know where he is, or they have not found him. So they have the manhunt is underway for Ryan Wedding, former Olympic snowboarder. Not like a gold medalist. He finished like 25th in the Olympics. It's just what makes it a sports story. But he's considered a fugitive. He was living in Mexico, probably still there at some point. We will see what happens with him.
SD Jelly said, Canadian drug lord, the most polite drug ring in the world. Oh,
doesn't sound that he's that
sorry.
polite.
No, it doesn't, actually. Yeah, Canadian Heisenberg. All right, guys, this one's a banger here. So let me just give you a little backstory here. When you have when we get to the playoffs, everything is wheels off. I mean, plates start spinning. Sales is like, can you guys be here at this time? We have to be. Can you guys show up on Saturday and do a broadcast? Can you go to Aylesmith? Yeah.
If the Padres win, we're doing this.
Yeah.
If they lose, that means the game 4 is tomorrow. Like,
right.
We're doing this.
So it's just it's really like drinking from a fire hose. It really is, and it gets a little insane. Now, Paulie is the, what do you call yourself?
Imaging
director. So Paulie has to get all the.
Everyone calls him that.
I just forgot the
doesn't
title.
call himself.
I know. I forgot the title.
Yeah, I don't walk around. Hey,
Hey, I'm the imaging director. Nice to meet you. Paulie has the unfortunate job of making promos for every single thing that could potentially happen, win, lose, whatever. So he was asked by Adam last week when the Padres had a 2-1 lead.
Congratulations to the World Series champion Chicago White Sox. We knew you were going to do it all along. You have to be ready for everything.
You don't know, not that.
I don't make a lot of White Sox.
They were
just checking.
Right. But so, you do have to do the promo for win or lose and all of that. So Paulie had to make them all, which I know you don't like doing anyway. It just feels like
the curveball was that I was going out of town.
Yeah, you had
I
to
left
do them quick.
after Thursday morning after the show. Went out to Palm Springs for the weekend, and so we knew Wednesday night there would be a game 5.
Correct.
With the loss, but prior to that game 4 loss on Wednesday night, I spent all of Wednesday making a bunch of potential promos.
Correct.
Game 5, Friday night, 97.3 The Fan, or the Padres have moved on if they would have won Game 4.
If they had won. Now.
And I sent them all to Adam.
So that's your job. You did your job. You sent them away to Adam. Adam's job.
So no matter what happens, I'm out of town.
I'm leaving.
You've got them. Upload appropriately.
Upload as you need. And a few people picked up on this. They were listening to the Gwen and Chris program, and I believe it aired right after the interview with skipper Mike Schilt. If you were listening to the station, you heard.
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
Oh, good, buddy. How are you? Missed you.
So this was like last Thursday.
Last Thursday. Paulie was in Palm Springs. I was at home.
I just got to my hotel. And my phone absolutely blew up.
I was at home relaxing, and people started texting me because this aired on our radio station.
The Padres have slayed the Dragon again. After knocking out the Dodgers, the Padres are moving on to the NLCS. Catch Game 1 of the NLCS this Sunday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Okay, so we all,
Thursday.
We had not played yet.
Game 5 had not played.
Game 5 was on Friday. So I got a text, a call, and then another text, and another call, and I said, you guys know I'm in therapy. I'm working hard on controlling my emotions. Regulating is what I call it. I'm just trying to regulate. So I waited a couple hours, and I went to dinner with my wife, and I called Adam. He answered the phone like this. Ring, ring. He goes, hello. I said, how's it going? He said, are you calling to roast me? I said, mm-hmm. What?
Actually, yes.
What happened? He goes, I loaded the wrong one. And I go, I know. I heard. Everybody heard. And he said, now, you remember, if you will. So I knew this on Thursday. Last Friday's show, a week ago today, was me, Ben, and Adam, who was filling in for you, Paulie. And Adam walked in the morning, and he goes, so are you going to roast me? And I said, no, I'm not saying a word. I'm not mentioning that. I said,
you already tempted fate by letting it play.
Yeah.
We're not going to play it again and again and continue to tempt fate. I mean, maybe it's too late.
Correct.
Maybe the damage has already been done, but we're not going to call attention to it.
And so I said, no, dude. He goes, I'm really surprised you're not going to roast me. I go, well, no. I said, if we win tonight, yeah, I'll roast you tomorrow at our live broadcast from, where were we going to be? Aylesmith again?
Yes.
We were going to be here.
Oh, that's right.
We were
just
coming
going
in to do a 2-hour show. So I said, I'm not doing that. And he said, okay, maybe the right idea. So he thought he was off the hook until he did that this morning. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for blame to go around, I think that some of it goes to Adam. Play it again, Paul. I'd like to hear it one more time.
Yeah,
let's hear it one more time.
The Padres have slayed the dragon again. After knocking out the Dodgers, the Padres are moving on to the NLCS.
Yep.
Catch Game 1 of the NLCS this Sunday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a really fun way to start your vacation.
When I called Paulie, he answered the phone.
I'm telling you, like the handle on my luggage was still up. We had just gotten to our room.
So Paulie's instant reaction was, "Oh no, I screwed up." And I go,
My
"Oh,
heart
no, it wasn't
fell
you."
out of my butt. I thought I uploaded to cart A, but I told Adam it was cart B, and he just did what I told him. And I'm like, oh my God. I cursed the team.
Paulie
There's
was
no way they
panicked.
win tomorrow. And then you talk to Adam, and I go, was it 100% his fault
said,
for
yeah,
sure?
it was
He goes,
100%.
yeah, it was.
Megan asked him in the chat, your wife Megan said, "Do you do this on purpose so they'll talk about you?" I think it's a fair question. But holy cow. So that was fun. My son last night walked in and he goes, "Dad?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, just like this quote, he goes, "I really liked your radio show today." I go, "Oh, you did?" I go, "What did you like?" And he goes, "I like when you guys mocked Adam." And I said,
Mocked.
"Oh, okay,
He used the
mocked."
word
He said,
mocked.
"Mocked." I like when you mocked Adam.
6.
I go, "You like that?" He goes, "Oh yeah." I go, when we were playing blackjack, like, hit me, double down. He said it was the funniest thing he's ever heard. So he really enjoyed the Adam content. But
So there is an argument to be made that Mike Schilt, the offense, Dylan Cease, all now absolved of what happened.
Yeah, there's an argument
in the
That's
last
correct.
2 games of the series.
If you believe in stuff like that,
that Adam Klug is solely to blame
Thank you.
for what happened.
you're off the hook, dude.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're off the hook.
It's also a good point
I
that
love
was
that.
made in our chat. You can't slay a dragon twice.
Correct. Right.
Once a dragon has been
Slain.
slain, slew, you can't do it again. It's maybe
slayed the dragon.
it's a different dragon. I don't know.
You like overkill out there? You're with the right team.
Cut his head off, sewed it back on, and
Cut
cut
it
it off a second time.
There was a very
97.3 The Machine.
there was a very smarmy
The double
again in that promo. Again.
The double kill.
The Padres have slayed the dragon again.
Again.
If I kill someone, I can't
Again.
kill them
After
over.
knocking out the
Carlos, do you guys like necrophilia out there? You killed that guy. No, I double killed him. I killed him and then I killed him again.
Killed him, brought out the
Again.
paddles, revived him,
Killed him
and
again.
killed him again.
The Padres murdered the Dodgers again.
Yeah, let's bang the Slayed the Dragon bit forever.
That was Peter. It's over.
Since they murdered us and are on their way to a World Series championship. Thank you to one man and one man only, the great.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
That's him. That's our guy. He said he's about to go walk into traffic and start drinking.
We were so careful. No raps.
Well, there
No.
was one, but we didn't bring any attention to it.
Yes, we tried to ignore everything. We did our best, people.
This has been the worst 35 minutes of radio.
It's been great radio.
My radio
actually.
career.
It's been really good radio. Don't forget, we got pulled off the air live one time, so it doesn't compare to that, but that was something.
All right, we will come back. Maybe talk about something more positive.
Like what?
The Padres bullpen going into 2025.
All right, fine. That's fine.
We'll take a look at the names that should have the Padres set up pretty well in late innings. I know bullpens can be a little bit up and down, but they've got some good players coming back. We'll take an off-season look at what's coming up in 2025 in the pen when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. One thing this postseason has made clear, and it was already true before this postseason, but there's nothing like a lockdown bullpen when it comes to October baseball. And it doesn't matter how good it was during the season. You need a really good pen to succeed in October. I mean, name the team that won a World Series even though their bullpen was really shaky all the way through the playoffs. It just doesn't happen.
Well, you'll find sometimes the regular season bullpen is not great, and then they get to October and they're deployed perfectly, and they find the next level, the next gear, whatever it may be. The Rangers obviously are a really good example of that, and they kind of looked around and they said, all right, let's make Leclerc, the guy, and he came in and was outstanding, and they used David Robertson well, and a bunch of guys that they had kind of found cast-offs, if you will, and ended up winning it all.
The Guardians have one of the best pens, if not the best pen in baseball, but when it doesn't go well, you can see what happens, and they're very lucky that they're not down 3-0. The Yankees pen had been doing well until it wasn't yesterday also. Dodgers pen has been probably the main reason that they've gotten to this point, one win away from the World Series. And the Padres pen was kind of the reason that they got through the Braves and were set up to maybe beat the Dodgers in that series. So we wanted to take a look ahead to 2025 and, where the Padres bullpen now stands going in to the offseason. We'll get into that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
This traffic report is driven by Kearney Mesa Volkswagen. Guys, the freeways are in pretty good shape this morning. Definitely looking at Friday-like conditions. You're going to have some company heading out of Santee on that westbound 52, but yeah, at least no incidents or accidents getting your way. In the Linda Vista area, though, we do have some police activity, investigation for a shooting. This is centered around Linda Vista Road and Ulrich, so there's an area you might want to avoid. Haunt the streets of San Diego in the spacious 2024 Volkswagen Tiguan 2.0S front-wheel drive for only $239 a month. Perfect for families or your creature crew. Kearney Mesa Volkswagen, your local veteran-owned dealership. For more details about this offer, head to KearneyMesaVolkswagen.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So A.J. Preller seems to have done a really good job now of setting up the Padres bullpen going into next season. Going into this year, it was more of a question mark of what that pen was going to be. We knew nothing about. I mean, Yuki Matsui was expected to be maybe even like your setup guy going into this season for Robert Suarez. There was a lot that we didn't know. Wandy Peralta was going to be the key guy that they had signed, like gave big money to, decent money to in the offseason to be potentially 7th, 8th inning guy. And neither of those worked out that well. And the Padres bullpen was a bit of a mess earlier in the season. But they made a lot of changes and moves that obviously helped them get to the playoffs and now should help them going forward, Woods. And let's start with the guys coming back for sure. Robert Suarez, a lot of foresight when they signed him. They picked him up out of Japan, then after one season signed him to a multi-year extension to essentially be the heir apparent to Josh Hader. We weren't sure about it at the time, but he came through in a big way this season. Struggled a little down the stretch, but the overall numbers, one of the best relievers in baseball this year. All-star, and was fantastic for much of the year.
And in the playoffs.
Little hiccup in September, but other than that, you got to say he had an outstanding season and will come back as the closer again next year for the San Diego Padres. After that, you've got Jeremiah Estrada, who was another under-the-radar pickup by A.J. Preller, who absolutely, when you look at the numbers behind the numbers, when he was healthy, outside of that illness and when he kind of looked like he dropped a little velocity for a few weeks in the middle of the season, 4th best strikeout rate in baseball among all relievers, had the streak of 13 straight strikeouts. He can be as nasty as just about anybody with a fastball that plays on the big league level.
What a find. What a find for A.J. Preller, picking him up off essentially waivers from the Chicago Cubs, Benny. And, again, you give him another year in that bullpen, and sky's the limit for him. So really, really happy that he'll be back, and a really great piece of that bullpen.
And an in-house success story in Adrian Morejon. Patience. It's been many years that we've heard about Adrian Morejon's potential to contribute on the big league level. Never really saw it. He was, cup of coffee here and there, was on the team, didn't do that well, but finally in a relief role as a left-hander coming out of the pen, had an outstanding breakout type season this year, and figures if they don't move him back to the starting rotation. And I don't think they will. I think he's going to be a big part of the Padres bullpen as the lefty next season.
Think what Tanner Scott was this year, potentially for him next year is if it, again, this is all speculation, literally all.
He'll be the guy who has to get Ohtani out next season.
Yeah, he's that guy. He's going to be that dude that Tanner Scott was, and I'm with you. I don't think they're going to end up moving him to a starter. I think his stuff plays way better in the bullpen, and he showed it this year. 2.82 ERA, 2.79 FIP, and 26.1 K rate was really, really good.
Then you had the trade deadline moves, and while Tanner Scott was a rental, and we fully expect him to leave in free agency, which is going to hurt, the other guys that you picked up are under team control for the foreseeable future. 2 more years, I believe, of Jason Adam.
Was phenomenal.
Who was so outstanding. Good numbers and good numbers behind the numbers. He figures to be like a second closer option, a guy who can either pitch in the 9th inning or will probably be your 8th inning setup guy going into next season.
Can also get Ohtani out, by the way.
And can as well, yeah. I mean, they'll have lanes for him, Morejon, and Estrada. And when you need 5 innings from your starter and 4 high-leverage relievers, Padres should have those coming back next season. Brian Hoeing even showed to be a little more than a throw-in at the trade deadline as he got the job done fairly consistently and will be back again for the Padres next season. And then you have a plethora of in-house other options that we saw at least a brief glimpse of. And we'll start with the guy you mentioned earlier, which is Sean Reynolds, who is a converted position player who had showed some absolutely nasty stuff, especially his slider late in the season, that looked like he is going to be a top-notch reliever.
100%.
I mean, he needs the experience, Obviously, there's some seasoning that's going to be in maybe a growing pain or two, but I don't think the Padres have any problem going through a couple of growing pains with Sean Reynolds for the potential payoff on the other end of what kind of pitcher he can be out of the bullpen.
Extremely high ceiling for Sean Reynolds. And then there was another name I was texting with John Conniff the other day from Mad Friars, and I think they're pretty high on Bradley Rodriguez. And he throws 100 plus. He's got a changeup that is devastating. So there's another high ceiling guy. They have actually some really, really good arms. And you go down the list. I mean, there's guys that were valuable at one point, did not have the best year. Guys like Tom Cosgrove. Alec Jacob is still
We saw him in the playoffs.
Yep.
I think they're still very high on Alec Jacob.
So you do feel fairly good about where they are right now as a bullpen. We've said that before. We certainly have said that before. AJ Preller has always done a pretty good job with the bullpen. So it remains a strength.
I would expect Yuki Matsui to have a better second season than his first season. He definitely gave up too many home runs in bad situations, too many walks early in the season, but his overall numbers weren't really bad at all over the course of the season. What did he finish with?
Yuki?
Yeah, his ERA at the end of the season. Let me see. He finished with in his first season. Remember, 3.73 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. Those are not bad numbers at all. Those are the kinds of numbers that you feel pretty comfortable, like a seventh inning type guy, and he won't need to be that based on the other names that we've kind of talked about for the Padres. He might even be someone you can offer in trade bait with those kind of numbers. And, you are paying him a few $1 million, and you are trying to be careful with your salary. There is a possibility that A.J. Preller could be looking to deal from an area of strength this offseason. I doubt the trade value on Wandy Peralta is that high, but he is a veteran, and there may be a GM or two that, sees enough from in his past that they might even be willing to take on some salary. But even if you have those guys back, you've got solid, fifth, sixth inning, whatever you need them. You're not gonna have your high leverage guys in every single game. Those are pretty good lower leverage relievers to have at the back end of your bullpen, along with some promising minor leaguers as well that could be coming up at some point during next season that we haven't even seen on the big league level at all.
Yeah, I'm excited about the pen. I feel like I'm excited about the pen every single year. That's always my favorite part of spring training. I think back to last year. Going to watch some of the Jairo Iriartes, who's now a member of the White Sox, but going to watch him throw the Sandridge. What's his first name?
Javian
Sandridge. Yeah. Is he still in the organization?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, Javian Sandridge, Ryan Bergert. These are some guys that I'm excited to go watch throw. It's insane to go stand 5 feet from them and watch them throw, and you go, all right, how does anybody square this up? But yeah, man, they're pretty. You want to say that they're pretty loaded right now in the bullpen. They have to be feeling fairly confident that this is a top tier bullpen.
And it's one reason why I'm confident that the Padres should be a playoff team next year as well.
Yeah, I agree.
That they're not going.
The core's there.
A bad bullpen is something that can really take what looks like a playoff team. Hey, we got good starting pitching, we got a good offense. Why would we miss the playoffs? Well, a lot of teams do because they just don't have the bullpen depth and they let too many close games get away. Bad record in one-run games. Sound familiar, Padres fans? Bad record in not being able to come from behind. The ability to stay behind by 1 or 2 runs so you can steal games 100%. At the end is absolutely critical.
It happened so many times this year.
And the Padres should be well set up for that again next season, which is why I still am fairly confident that this should be, whatever moves A.J. Preller makes, should be viewed probably when we show up at spring training next year, knowing that A.J. will probably still have more moves to make. A team that is talked about in Major League Baseball circles is one that is expected to be a playoff contender in 2025.
No doubt.
Before even one move has been made this offseason.
Oh, I think at a baseline. Yeah, baseline is playoffs. I think it's really, really solid. So I have no issues with what they have, and I honestly think that it may even be a little bit of a surplus, Benny, that you could potentially deal from with some of these guys. So somebody sees something in a Tom Cosgrove or
Correct.
one of those guys, and they say, you know what, we need a lefty, we can make that work. We'll trade you a low-level starting pitcher, whatever.
I do think Yuki might be an interesting guy to watch this offseason and what they do with him. So, all right, we'll come back. Jordan Schusterman from Yahoo Sports and Cespedes Family Barbecue, our usual Friday chat about the playoffs and more coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
Halfway home on a very eventful Friday show here on Ben and Woods this morning. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer and imaging director. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. I wonder if our next guest was actually in the house last night.
Ooh, that would be fun.
I feel like he might have been, but I could just be talking
let's,
out of
he's
school.
nodding. He's nodding yes.
Oh,
yes.
Come on, dude.
His YouTube name, #1, John Kenzie Noel fan. Well, who doesn't like Big Christmas? As we are joined right now by Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue and Yahoo Sports. I mean, if you were anywhere in the neighborhood of Progressive Field last night, sounds like the party might still be going on. Jordan, what an absolutely incredible baseball game.
I mean, reportedly they're going to play again in a few hours, and I don't totally understand how anyone involved is supposed to do that, but that is, of course, that's just the sport that we love and cherish. Guys, yeah, this was the best game I've ever seen. I mean, it's not really my place to declare where this ranks in, postseason history, because I've only seen so many games and I've only, been lucky enough to work in this industry for so many years. And ultimately, how it will be remembered will be determined in the coming days and weeks. However, the amount of absurd things that happened after the seventh inning is difficult to truly wrap my mind around. I mean, I did my best to capture it in what I wrote for Yahoo, and I left out so many things. It's kind of hilarious.
It really was a staggering game. I went to my computer. I was looking at the live bet action, and it said it was like 3-1 at the time, and it said Yankees win the game plus 620. I was like, ooh, that's pretty decent odds. I mean, it's the New York Yankees. And then I thought, well, it's Emmanuel Clase. He's coming in. He's probably going to mow these guys down. Judge has not been hitting that well. Feels like he matches up really well with Stanton. So I'm like, I'll just wait. I'm not going to do anything. So I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been livid. A live bet in the middle of a game, Jordan. What are you seeing out of Emmanuel Clase, other than he is human and worked a ton this year?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been moved to Northeast Ohio earlier this summer, and I watched a ton of Clase and wrote a long feature about him at the end of August, just about the historic season he's having, was having in the regular season. And it's just incredible. It's amazing that he had never allowed 2 home runs in a game. And what had happened to him against Detroit was shocking enough on its own, but he had rebounded from that. He looked like Clase again. And when he does it to Kerry Carpenter, God bless Kerry Carpenter, and he's very great against right-handed pitching, that's shocking. And because of course Clase had been got so infrequently, and especially good against lefties. When Judge and Stan do it, on the one hand you're like, of course, but on the other hand it's like there's no way Clase could possibly implode again in this same spot.
Right.
It was mind-blowing. And Judge is, both of them, wow, right? But Stanton, what a postseason performer. And somehow that home run is going to get lost. I mean, all these moments at the end of this game, you just keep running through it, and you just can't believe all these things happen in the same game.
Well, no question, Jordan. Talking to Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue this morning, and so you tied the game, and you're feeling Yankee. You come back and you tie the game if you're the Guardians, but you're like, all right, well, we've tied the game. That's great, but we still have to play extra innings against the New York Yankees. We still have to figure out how to get some of these guys out. And Andres Jimenez, with one of the greatest plays I have ever seen, backed up by Josh Naylor with one of the greatest picks and stretches I have ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, Jimenez is a fascinating player. I think, Vogt said after the game, he's the best infielder on the planet. And your first instinct when you hear that is, why is he playing second base? And then your second instinct, if you've watched him, is, I'm so glad he's playing second base. Could he play a good shortstop? Probably. Brian Rocchio is a pretty darn good shortstop as well. But what Jimenez is able to do, I mean, I've again, just in the time that I've been, he is amazing. And he is probably going to win his 3rd Gold Glove here in a couple of weeks. But that play was just, it was sensational, because to your point, that Noel home run is so breathtaking, and then you got to keep playing. And it's just like, and there's no automatic runner. So you're wondering, base runners then become even more. I think this was our first extra inning game of the postseason, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen. I almost forget every time now when it's like, wait a minute, there's no one out there on second base. They got to earn this run. And so it was really, really, really something. That play was really special.
But of all the unlikely and amazing things that happened, I mean, it is the Noel home run that stands out even from the rest of it, right, Jordan? I mean, how little confidence did everybody have in that situation with Noel coming to the plate? I don't think people realize how cold he was.
But that is the incredible thing about him, because to your point, everything that we've seen over the last month plus has been that he is a rookie in the harshest form of regression, being overmatched. The pitchers had figured out he will swing at these pitches. We can get him out on these pitches. And yet, having been in the press box for so many of these unproductive at-bats, pinch hits, starts where he goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, you look at the guy, and because of what he did for the first 2 months, every time he's coming up there and you're like, maybe this is the time he hits the ball to the moon. Like we've all been saying it since his last home run. And so, yes, with the way Weaver had been throwing, you still assume the odds are against him. At the same time, as soon as he hits it, you're like, duh.
Yeah, of course.
Well, you tweeted it, though. He had 113 with a 175 on base percentage and 189 slugging percentage for the final month of the regular season, and was 1 for 15 in the playoffs.
He was bad. He was bad. And they
horrible.
kept running him out there, and that speaks to, I mean, honestly, just the roster that the Guardians are working with,
right?
Where they're in a situation where it has continuously been worth trying to keep putting Noel out there and keep giving him a chance to give them that one big swing. And finally it happened. And obviously Weaver, I mean, it was that's not the pitch he wanted to throw. But hey, most of this game is capitalizing on mistakes, and they absolutely did that.
It's so true too, because you watch that pitch that Weaver threw, and you're like, man, with as badly as this guy's been swinging, why would you throw anything near the heart of the plate? Same thing with Clase and Giancarlo Stanton. He had been throwing him heaters up and in, and he's swinging through them and fouling them off. And what do? You hang a slider. The one pitch he can handle, the only one that he can do damage on, you hang a slider. It seems so elementary, but you're in the moment, and you're Emmanuel Clase, and you're like, yeah, but you haven't seen my slider. And, it's like, it's the beauty of this game. It's also, if you're Stephen Vogt in that moment, you're like, why would you throw him the one pitch he can hit out? It's just, it's never boring, this game, man. Never.
Yeah. And it's the execution, right? And you think about, again, it's like, there's so many things you can pick out, but you think about the fact that Clase comes in the exact spot you would want him to handle, and it's a disaster. And we get to extras. Who's leading off the 10th? It's Aaron Judge. Who do we have left? Former Padre Pedro Avila.
Right.
And here comes Pedro Avila.
That we cast aside,
Who we cast aside in April, and succeeded in low leverage long relief for San Diego, and did it all year for Cleveland. But they're not putting him into these spots. And I know Vogt says after the game, oh, we've put all of our guys in these situations. And that's true to some degree, right? But come on, right? And Pedro Avila has become beloved in this clubhouse because it is a very important role. But this isn't plan A, obviously. And yet, what does he do? He goes out there and strikes out Aaron Judge to lead off the 10th.
Insane.
And you're just like, all right, well, at this point, why analyze anything? And I kind of say this at the start of every October is like, what's the point? Why am I supposed to tell you, oh, these are the matchups that are going to defend? No, what?
We don't know.
This game, we had so far lost the plot, after the 7th that at that point, really anything could happen.
Talking to Jordan Schusterman from Yahoo Sports and Cespedes Family Barbecue. And Jordan, obviously, even a week later, we're still kind of in mourning.
Reeling.
I mean, can't hurt much more than being up 2-1 against your bitter rival, losing it, and then watching said bitter rival look like they are now on a unstoppable march toward a World Series title. And looking at this Mets series and going, I mean, I know it's sour grapes, but Padres could have handled these Mets pretty easily, I think. It's like nothing is soothing the wound from last week. What was your perspective on on just how the Padres stunningly went out with no runs in the last 2+ games.
One of the most difficult things about our job in October is we really don't have time to process when teams are eliminated. And I hate that because I have so many Padres thoughts, and I appreciate you asking me for them because I believed in this team. I thought this team, and I think a lot of smart baseball people were like, yeah, this is it. And sometimes you go cold and sometimes you're eliminated. It sucks. And Jake and I had a hearty debate on our show about, was this a successful season or not? Right. And we kind of went back and forth about when I said, compared to what we were thinking in March, absolutely. But over the course of the year, the expectations were raised because they got better players and they were playing so well, and they looked like a complete team going into October. But as we know, that doesn't guarantee you anything, and that's how we end up where we are today. What I'm wondering for you guys is, obviously you are not going to enjoy the Dodgers going on, and because right, the easy thing is, okay, could it beat the Mets, right? Tell me I'm crazy. Like, tell me I'm a complete idiot, right? But like, if the Dodgers steamroll all the way to the World Series, does that make it better or worse? Like, obviously you're going to hate seeing the Dodgers win.
Normally, I'm the old, go ahead and cheer for the team that knocked you out.
Yeah, forget it.
But this year, it absolutely makes it worse. It just shows
just
you
making sure
that this should have been you and not them. You had it. You were there.
Okay, that's fair.
And you let it slip away. This was the team. We've never had a team, at least in my lifetime, where I felt like they actually could be the favorites, or at least, as equal of any team to win it. Even when they made the World Series in 1998, we knew the Yankees were far and away the best team, in the postseason that year. This was actually a Padres team that I looked at every other team in baseball and go, there are other good teams, but I don't see a team that's necessarily better than the Padres. Yeah. And now that the Dodgers are doing what they're doing, I go, they were the team. If someone was going to take out the Dodgers there, it was going to be the Padres.
Yeah. And that's how I'm feeling watching both New York and Cleveland. And maybe the Mets have a last gasp in here, but assuming the Dodgers move on, New York and Cleveland are going to have to clean it up pretty big time if they're going to have any chance to slow down what this Dodgers lineup has been. This is with a hobbled or not playing Freddie Freeman, right? In some ways, we're still not even seeing them at full capacity. But as much as you guys hate to hear it, this is kind of what I've been saying for 6 weeks. Like, there's a version of this team that's just going to be too much to slow down.
Yeah, it's next level. I thought about you when we went 24 scoreless innings. I thought, man, this is what Jordan went through, but for like 130 games watching the Mariners. That's
Did they go scoreless for 130 straight games, or did it just seem like it, Jordan?
It seemed like it, right? And I thought to myself, so this is what offensive futility looks like. And you had to watch an entire season of that.
Yeah, I will say the Mariners have had a lot of versions of that. Also, notably, not scoring in 18 innings in their lone home postseason game 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
18 innings, one game.
That's how long Seattle had been waiting to have postseason baseball, and they got 0 runs in 18 innings in one day. That's pretty special. But
that's Mariners.
Hey, we're not comparing. It's all painful. This doesn't make anything better or worse. It's all.
Well, we're all here for each other. So it was a rough one, man. Still getting over it, but life goes on.
Indeed. But hey, I'll be back there tonight for Game 4, and I'll just say this because I'm tweeting about some of the pitcher usage here in a couple minutes. Who's pitching? I mean, Luis Gil against Gavin Williams. Neither of these guys have pitched in weeks.
Gavin Williams. This is a weird matchup.
This is a war of attrition
with weary bullpens behind them.
Right. What does that look like? Who is available to pitch? Would the Yankees actually roll Weaver and Holmes back out there again tonight? It seems impossible. Well, you got to get through 9 innings somehow, let alone what the heck would happen tomorrow. I know they'd have Rodon for Game 5, but man, oh man. I mean, we are guaranteed that Game 5 now. So
we are.
This is going to be pretty messy.
I think the Guardians are looking forward to a maximum chaos game. Give them a chance to tie the series here, and at least
I agree, but I wouldn't mind a little bit more of a straightforward contest.
Yeah, same.
The press box was in shambles last night on multiple occasions.
Oh, those writers, when you have reversals like that, because they're writing their story as it goes, and then they got to throw out that story and write, the Yankees win on incredible back-to-back home runs, and then they got to throw it out again and restart. I mean, yeah, they were probably...
Let's be clear. No complaints. This is not woe is me whatsoever. I'm just saying it truly was like hilarious, the degree to which everyone was just looking around like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
Like,
why don't you just wait? Just wait.
You can't,
I know,
though.
you can't. You got deadlines,
Glad we're
right?
doing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you just wait.
Jordan, it's been fun. We got the World Series. Should be starting next Friday unless all these series wrap up really quickly, and then it could still start on Tuesday, but I'm assuming next Friday. So probably Jake next week, but looking forward to wrapping up the season with you in a couple of weeks.
Appreciate you guys. Always fun.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. That is Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Our weekly segment, as always, brought to you by our friends at Grand Ole Barbecue, North Park, Flint Springs. At the ballpark next season when we go back to Petco Park. But don't wait until next season. Make sure you go out and try some of their amazing brisket and other barbecued meats at one of their 2 locations during the off-season.
Yeah, have a meat fest out there. It's delicious.
I know barbecue's kind of summer food, but I actually think it's perfect for the colder months
Year-round,
because
baby.
it's just like, wow, like warm meat. Very good.
Save that. Save that.
All right, with our technical difficulties last hour, we did not play Take on Woods, so let's do it
next.
when we come back. That means during the break, if you want to get online and be one of our contestants for a chance to win concert tickets, we will play our musical trivia challenge to wrap up the week against Woods coming up next. Phone lines are open, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Take on Woods when we return here with Ben and Woods after traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Padres have some big decisions coming up. Not urgent in terms of this offseason. You have to extend players like Michael King and Dylan Cease, but you also don't want to just let them go to free agency and necessarily hit the open market. So we'll talk about that coming up. This segment of Ben and Woods brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is football, and B-Dubs kicking off football season with 2 limited-time sauces. Try their new Buffalo Bacon Sauce for bold notes of smoky bacon, or get the fan-favorite hot barbecue before it's gone. Try them at your local B-Dubs, or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings. Go! Yeah, we'll talk some Padres again at the bottom of the hour. Right now, though, it is time for a little delayed edition of Take on Woods. All right, you said Mike is our contestant today. Mike, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
All right, Mike. Take on Woods, brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I hope you're ready for this, Mike. It's not an easy game. You're going to take on Woods, 5 questions, musical trivia. If you can beat or tie him, we'll hook you up with some good concert tickets to see Orville Peck at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater on Saturday, October 26th. Tickets remain at Ticketmaster.com. Give you a little advantage. I'll let you pick the category, Mike. Here are your choices. We have on the chessboard, those are all 5 songs and questions, something to do with the game of chess. Twice as Nice, song titles with the same word repeated twice. Or Round Table. We've got 5 song titles that include the word round. So, on the chessboard, Twice as Nice or Round Table. Mike, what would you like to play?
Let's try Round Table.
Round Table. All right, let's give Woods nightmares with a Round Table category. Got 5 song titles, all include the word round. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know one of the answers, you can say pass. We'll come to it if there's still time left at the end of the 60 seconds. First question, Mike, is our 2-second song. Paulie's going to play some music. You need to give me the song title, including the word round, and the artist. 2 parts to score that point. You understand?
Okay.
All right. He sounds confident. Mike, put 60 seconds on the clock. Category again is Round Table. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Round and Round by
Ooh, yeah.
Round and Round. Oh, what is that name of that band?
You want to pass?
Come back to it.
Pass.
All right.
Yeah.
England's famous Traffic Circles inspired which 1972 progressive rock classic by the band Yes?
Roundabout.
Correct. The words "like a record" appear in parentheses in the title of which big 1984 hit for the English pop band Dead or Alive?
Pass.
The debut 2012 single by country artist Casey Musgrove shares a name with which piece of kids' playground equipment?
Merry-go-round.
Correct. What is the official title of John Tesh's famous NBA on NBC basketball theme that I enjoy so much?
I have no idea.
Oh, time is up, and you did really well, Mike. Hang on the line. You just didn't know the name. Rat is the name of Round and Round's band, but you got Roundabout and you got Merry-Go-Round. You did not get You Spin Me Round Like a Record by Dead or Alive, and you didn't get Round Ball Rock by John Tesh. But 2 in a tough category is definitely a legitimate score. Let's bring Woods back in. Now, it's much tougher for Woods because he doesn't have the category that Mike had. He's going in cold. We're going to put 60 seconds back on the clock for Woods. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Mike.
Round and Round, rap.
Correct. England's famous Traffic Circles inspired which 1972 progressive rock classic by the band Yes?
Roundabout.
Correct. The words "like a record" appear in parentheses in the title of which big 1984 hit for the English pop band Dead or Alive?
You Spin Me Right Round?
You Spin Me Round. Correct. The debut 2012 single by country artist Casey Musgroves shares a name with which piece of kids' playground equipment?
Merry-Go-Round.
Correct. What's the official title of John Tesh's famous NBA on NBC basketball?
Rock.
Correct. And that is a win. Got a 4.5 there for Woodsy, but to 2 for Mike. So
Do have to let you know it's my beloved Casey Musgraves.
That's
not
what I said.
Musgrove.
Did I say Musgroves?
Joe. It's Joe Musgraves.
Joe Musgrave. Casey Musgraves. Joe Musgrove.
Joe Musgraves. Casey Musgrove.
I think I just typed it out because I'm so used to typing
Padres
Musgrove.
Sports lover, man. You can't get away.
Mike, thank you for playing. My fingers have, it's weird.
Well, she just had Tommy John.
Did she?
Yeah.
My fingers have a life of their own. So I was recording last night's sports segment, and I have to put in the final score graphic on the screen. And while I said it all right, Frank, who runs the operations in our booth, said, "You wrote Dodgers 10, Padres 2."
Oh my
on
God!
the screen. So you better go
What
and
is
change
happening
that.
around here?
Yeah. What in the world?
I just
Just used
It's
to
just
it.
my fingers are just used to writing it. It's like, even though I put the Mets like logo and it was the right picture and everything, I wrote Padres instead. I said Mets, but I wrote Padres.
You're the
because
Adam
it's just-
Klug of Channel 10.
Well, that one didn't
Everybody
actually
clean it
go
up
out.
around
that
here.
one,
Clean it up!
That one didn't go out over the air. That one was caught beforehand, thanks to good colleagues like Frank.
Good job,
last
Frank.
night at Channel 10. Mike, well played.
Adam needs
Did not happen for you today.
Adam needs a what would you call that? Like a fact checker for his tweets, for his inputting of things into the system. You need like a proxy, not a proxy, like
you need
what's the word I'm looking for here?
You need another layer of backup.
Yeah, like a backup,
security blanket,
like a double authentication. Like he submits it and then it goes to somebody else that has to check his
a
work.
proofreader, as it were.
Yeah, proofreader. Yeah, 100%.
So anyway, we will come back and talk a little bit more about contract extensions for your San Diego Padres in this offseason. Talked a little about Luis Ariz yesterday, but there are some other candidates to be sure. That is coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. Before we get back to some Padres talk, quick question for Paulie. Paul, as a an Aztecs alum and basketball fan, are you offended at all that Brian Dutcher's team was picked to finish 4th in the Mountain West yesterday?
No, I don't care about preseason anything.
They've never been picked to finish worse than 1st or 2nd.
I saw
in the Brian
that. I thought it was
Dutcher era.
interesting.
And they were picked 4th this year. Boise State was picked 1st. Obviously, you know, they have a lot of players to replace, so there's a lot of unknowns, but I feel like they've earned a little bit of respect and trust. Like, you know what? We don't know how they'll be good, but it's Dutch, it's the Aztecs. They'll undoubtedly be good at the end of the season.
Well, someday, Benny, you're going to appreciate the lack of appearances on power rankings and preseason rankings and things like that. Because I'm telling you, if you're Dutcher, you're like, oh, okay. Like, you don't say it, you know. You don't say it, but you go, oh,
it's motivational.
Okay, sure.
You've ran the conference
Yeah.
for like 15 years.
Yes.
You would think, I mean, I know it's a different roster every single year. There's turnover, blah, blah, blah. Nothing from last year really has any impact on this year.
No question.
And I'm not going to sit here like I am a San Diego State Aztecs basketball fan. I'm not a Mountain West basketball fan.
Yeah.
Can't sit here and tell you, well, I've been scouting, you know, Wyoming.
What
or
Boise
whatever.
State's got.
Like, I don't know anything about the other teams. Maybe there are 3 or 4 better teams right now on paper. I have no idea. I just know that San Diego State at the end of the season, they're going to be there.
I'm always.
What is his name?
Magoon Guaf.
I am
Yeah.
just riveted by this
Pharaoh
player.
Compton's
He
gonna
actually
be a
was the preseason
stud.
freshman of the year, but I think Magoon Guaf might
What a
be
name!
better.
Magoon Guaf is one of the greatest names of all time.
Yeah.
So
I got Reese
7-footer.
Waters coming back.
Yeah, my dog.
I'm the first to pile on the Mountain West. It's for the most part kind of a national joke, but not in basketball.
Not in basketball.
Not in basketball. It's a serious basketball conference, and there are good teams. Boise State is good. New Mexico is good.
Since you've gotten me watching regular season SDSU basketball, I continue to remain very impressed with the battles that they have against these teams and the level of talent. You know,
I mean, you are getting
good fan
everyone's
bases,
best
good
chance.
travel.
Yes.
It's a tough conference.
No
And,
doubt.
You know, the Aztecs went
And
to the
it's
Sweet
fun.
16 last year. To be fair, they finished 5th in the Mountain West. No,
Yeah.
you don't really remember that because they
it's a
went
good
to the
point.
Sweet 16, but you know, it was like a 5-way tie and they ended up 5th, but technically they finished 5th. So 4th is it's a step up from last year.
I just don't think it matters that much right now. And if they play Brian Dutcher's brand of basketball and he'll get those guys ready to go, you just have to. I think he's earned, you know, we talked a lot about like that with Mike Schilt down the stretch last year when they were playing so well. And then you did the little skid and you go, guys, have they not earned your trust?
Right.
But you got to have the right players. And
You do.
and
We'll see. We'll see if they do. Opening game is November 6th against UCSD. They have an exhibition on October 30th against Cal State San Marcos. But it's a new world with the transfer portal. You saw yesterday, Tony Bennett, who was the national championship winning coach at Virginia, different Tony Bennett, just quit like 3 weeks before the season.
He
Just
quit.
Retired, technically. But one of the best coaches in college basketball, and reportedly the reason is he doesn't want to deal with the players coming and going and essentially free agency. It's not what he signed
Probably
up
could
for.
have made that decision in like July.
Maybe, but yeah, he made it yesterday.
Nothing's
which is,
changed since like the summer and this week, but no, I'm excited. I don't go to many San Diego State basketball games. Maybe the occasional like Saturday 1 p.m. game on CBS, but most of the time they're like Tuesday night 8:30 p.m. I'm like, I live in Escondido. I'm like, I'm not driving down to San Diego State
in a parking garage that you're gonna have to wait to get out of.
An hour and a half to get out of the parking garage, but I just got my tickets a couple of days ago.
It
We're
is
gonna go
fun.
see them
It's a
Vegas.
fun game to go to,
They are
though,
good
with the
games,
fans and the student section.
Oh yeah,
it's fun to go to those games. There's no doubt about it. So anyway, quick.
When's the season start?
November 6th.
I can't wait.
Against
Actually, it gives me
UCSD.
something to watch during the
And then
week.
they got Gonzaga coming in, and they got those games in Vegas for the Thanksgiving break that are all against top 25 teams.
The Creighton game that Tuesday.
Nice, dude. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good
All right,
time.
well, let's check traffic, and then we're going to talk contract extensions for some of your Padres, if any of them actually do get done this coming offseason next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
This traffic report is driven by Kearney Mesa Volkswagen. One problem to watch out for, guys. Northbound side of the 15, right before Friars Road, we have reports of a two-vehicle accident blocking that slow lane. Carve out a great deal on the 2024 Volkswagen Taos S front-wheel drive at $197 per month. This compact SUV is more treat than trick. Visit Kearney Mesa Volkswagen, proudly local and veteran-owned. For more details about this offer, head to KearneyMesaVolkswagen.com. And Kelly Danick with Ben Woods, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So A.J. Preller has painted himself into a bit of a corner, I think, this offseason. We talked yesterday about the fact that, they're right up against the competitive balance tax level even before the season starts, assuming, they offer arbitration to arbitration-eligible players, the normal raises. They're already kind of in a tough spot. Now, if you go out and sign anybody to a long-term contract extension, even if you backload it, remember, the luxury tax is based on the average value. So even if you're only paying a guy $9 million this year, if he's got $15 and $20 million, in future years, that's going to go against this year's CBT level. So signing anybody, including Michael King, Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz, or even Jackson Merrill, to a contract extension now could have serious implications on your tax level and tax bracket in 2025. But at the same time, Woods, you sent Juan Soto out to get, Michael King in that deal. You don't really want to just risk letting him walk after if he has another great season this year or next year in 2025 and hits open market free agency, he may be beyond the price tag that you can even think about affording. So you kind of have to sign him. Tough spot.
He may be beyond it now. Honestly, what's his ARB number going to be next year?
13,
13, which is absolutely doable. And you got to think.
Spot Track has him estimated at 10.7.
10.7. Okay.
So $11 million to keep Michael
King.
King.
Bump up from 3.1.
Ooh, yeah. So a hefty raise and a well-deserved
But still
raise.
an absolute bargain
for
a
starting
pitcher of Michael King's caliber.
29 years old. He turns 30 in May.
Okay.
And I put it on the rundown. Do you just start with a pitcher like Michael King? Do you start in San Diego with the Joe Musgrove?
Give him the Joe.
5-100. Is that at least the talking point to start?
I don't think you can get him for less than that right now.
Double his ARB number, his ARB estimate of 10.7. 20 a year. I'd have him through 35 years old.
And you don't let him go out and pitch this year on a 1-year, $11 million deal unless you want to work out some sort of extension in the middle of the season. But players really don't like to do that. Joe did. But for the most part, they're they're like, I'm either, if you want me here long term, let's talk. And if not, then I'll just pitch this year and hit the open market. And I think, there's something to be said, too, for players wanting to hit the open market. It's something that they've earned. They've earned the ability to go out and make some real money. And, who's to say that in Michael King doesn't say, okay, I'll accept the ARB number, the $11 million, I'll take it. But what if the Astros throw me $25 million a year, at the end of next season? If he has another season like he did, why would you settle?
He may want to hold out for $25 million a year now.
Right.
If he's going to sign a contract extension. Price tag go up. And honestly, projecting forward, as much as we love Joe, Michael King projects a lot better. Younger. On the upward trajectory. He's the kind of pitcher that is probably closer to a $30 million a year pitcher in the near future than a $20 million a year pitcher. So are you ready to invest those kind of significant numbers in Michael King? Because the alternative then is you lose him, and the prize piece that you got for Juan Soto is now gone. So essentially you got a 2-year rental of Michael King for Juan Soto, which isn't bad, but you'd like to think that there was more to it than just the 2-year rental of Michael King. And we haven't even started going down the Dylan Cease road or a Jackson Merrill contract extension, things that I would think any team would seriously be considering this offseason. And a Luis Ariz, who we haven't talked about yesterday. Doesn't seem like there's any way you could get all 4 of those done this offseason.
I don't think so either, man. And again, not knowing what the Padres have to offer, what their plans are, who's actually, making those decisions right now, I have no idea. And You know, the what you've got left down there, Vasquez, Brito, Waldron. I mean, yeah, you're looking at this right now, and you have Michael King for a year, and you have Dylan Cease for a year. Do you have any problem with just pitching those guys just like you did this year and letting the chips fall where they may?
If you do that, then there are really only two alternatives. You go all in just for 2025.
Right.
And you don't sign anyone to contract extensions, and you use every dollar that you've got to try to load up the 2025 team. But after that, there will be a huge reckoning. If they win the World Series, it's a much more palatable reckoning, but it's still coming, because if they win the World Series, it's probably because Michael King just had a great year, Dylan Cease had a great year, Luis Arraez had a great year, and Jackson Merrill had another great year. So their price tags all just went through the roof when you could have gotten them for less if you had done it now. So there'll be a huge reckoning in terms of, man, I wish we had gotten some of those contract extensions done. Or there's the other reckoning where you don't have great seasons. Then what do? Now are you willing to invest even more money after a team that didn't perform well? Or are you just doing a total rebuild around Tatis and Manny and Bogarts? And Merrill, I would assume you're going to keep as long as possible, but your pitching staff would be essentially, a very old Yu Darvish and a Joe Musgrove that's coming off Tommy John surgery that you don't know, that is also getting older, and nothing. I mean, nothing. You won't have pitching in 2026.
Sounds like what
forward.
you're saying is that the future is very bright here in San Diego.
No,
you are
I'm saying
to...
that A.J. Preller has put himself into a corner. He's pretty good at painting himself in and out of corners as well.
He certainly painted himself out of one this year, but yeah, it's like Satan's Blowfish said in the chat. Why else would you, it's a mutual decision, but Michael King wanted to be a starter, right? And that's why he wanted to be a starter and learn how to be a very effective starter at the big league level. Why? Because he can make more money. You can get paid to do that. But I do think, man, at some point, you got to be okay with guys pitching out their contracts and then letting them go. Letting somebody else pay for a 31-year-old Dylan Cease, 31-year-old Michael King at the time. Not that they're not great, not that you wouldn't want them, but it just has to make sense for the future as well. I'm typically the guy that says, Michael King to me is a guy I'm like, you know what? I invest in Michael King. I do, but not to the tune of $30 million a year.
If you're looking to extend your window of competitiveness, I think you really do have to consider trading Dylan Cease this
100%.
offseason.
I do too.
If you're looking to win the World Series in 2025, you are keeping Dylan Cease, right, and you are asking him to shoulder the load next year and try to get you to the World Series. But if you want to extend that window, the best way to do it is to use the money that you trade Dylan Cease, probably add young pitching prospects that you feel good about controlling and joining the rotation in the next few years, and then using the money that you're not paying Dylan Cease in arbitration, which his number is around $18 million we talked about, and using that to try to extend Michael King and or Luis Arraez and Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, and don't forget, A.J. Preller's contract is up as well at some point after this season, I believe, after 25, right?
A.J. has through 26, I think.
Through 26?
I believe so. And who knows? They'll probably give him another extension this year after the year he had.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm already...
Michael King's value will, as Adam points out in the chat, his value could potentially never be higher than it is right now, So
with a pitcher, the one pressure point you have as an organization when you're dealing with a pitcher is, I could go out and blow out my arm this year.
Correct.
And I have not signed my long-term deal. And you can, if you dangle that money and, they sit in a dark room, at night, and, they're tossing and turning in bed, and they go, I probably could get a lot more if I wait for free agency for 1 year, if I have a good season. But what happens if I blow out my arm?
We got it solved in the chat by Nate. Nate says you trade Jake Cronenworth and Wandy Peralta and a minor leaguer for Paul Skeens. There it is. It's all done.
Done.
I love Paul Skeens. Figured it out. Why?
It's a great idea.
It's also going to require probably some blackmail pictures of the Pittsburgh general manager as well.
Bob Nutting and Ben Charrington.
Throw in Leodalis DeVries, Jackson Merrill, and
Nate says it was a joke
Steven
to
Sella,
me. Yeah,
sorry.
but it's a deal that I'm doing.
All right. Yeah, no, I'll do it.
That's a deal.
All right.
Listening
I believe
to this
Jake. I believe Nate. It was a joke.
Michael King conversation, though, and starting to like play it forward in my head, I find myself battling between going all in for next year. You were this close. We
Yeah.
were talking about it with Jordan. We feel like this could have been our year, and you got to go even further in next year. Does signing King to a 5-year contract prohibit you from going out and getting another starting pitcher? Because we need another starting pitcher next year. Not Michael King. Like he's already on the roster. We need somebody that's not on the roster yet to replace Joe, to pitch in a big playoff game maybe, since we know what happened this year. Like,
are we all soured on Dylan Cease because of what happened in the playoffs? Is there some recency bias there? Because he was a horse.
He's got ace-like stuff, but I don't know that he's your ace.
But he pitched like an ace
Yeah,
during
he
the
is.
regular season.
No, he is.
He's an ace.
He throws 200 innings and strikes out 200 batters a year without fail.
Okay, but when you get to the playoffs, you're number one.
But
number two becomes your number 4.
You worry about that when you get to the playoffs.
Do you take that though? Like knowing full well what you can expect. You know, Manny hasn't performed great in the playoffs. You know, but you want him for that.
You want
30,
them all to
know.
keep getting chances at it. You'd rather have guys who failed in the playoffs, but at least have playoff experience.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Than throwing guys who've never been in there over and over again and hoping it's going to work. Now, remember the injury question with Michael King works both ways. You sign him, but are you worried that
correct
his arm could explode at some point? You know, he doesn't have the durability, track record yet of a Dylan Cease. He's a younger pitcher and he's not gone through all of that as far as I know.
I disagree with Kevin here. He says Cease's performance in the postseason is a benefit because it lowers his value. I don't think it does at all.
I don't think so.
I really don't think so. I mean, there are a lot of guys get paid in baseball that have not performed in October. A lot. Aaron Judge has $600 million. You know, I mean,
Clayton Kershaw made plenty of money.
Clayton Kershaw made plenty of money in his
My point
career.
is to get to October, though, you have to go out and sign another frontline starting pitcher.
Not necessarily front line. If you
Front-ish line.
If you keep Cease, King, Darvish.
We talked about some of the names yesterday.
Yeah.
They don't need to sign Corbin Burns necessarily. They can. There's names out there to add to the rotation for this year. Anyway, a lot of things that AJ Preller needs to be working on, and I'm sure he is. Come back with the Ryle Report next. Best of luck to the San Diego Gulls, who embark on a new season tonight. First home game of the year at Pechanga Arena. And we don't talk a lot of Gulls hockey just because it's minor league hockey, and I don't know that much about what's going on. But they do have a devoted fan base. I know they're expecting nearly 12,000 tonight at that game. I mean, they're a well-supported AHL franchise. Have not had a great run the last couple of years. Obviously, the Ducks have struggled, and when your NHL club is not good, that usually doesn't bode well for essentially your AAA club at the level below, because they're constantly pulling your best players out, and it's been a rough go the last couple of years. But wanted to at least wish them good luck as they play Coachella Valley tonight and start a new home schedule. They did lose their first 2 on the road in Toronto last weekend.
Yeah, we got a lot of homies over there, so good luck, guys.
We do, absolutely. We think the best of you, even if we don't talk about you a ton on the show. I just wanted to offer them some good luck this weekend. Coming up, final hour, get to some college football in the weekend, my Super Saturday lineup in our next segment. Woodsy has an interesting dilemma tomorrow that he's going to mention coming up as well.
This is going to be
just shared with us.
A train wreck.
Things Ben likes at the end of the hour before Annie and Elston.
I missed it.
All right, now, though, Paulie's going to get us some headlines with the Ryle Report. And get things started here with our today's edition of the Ryle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Ryle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
We'll start off in the NFL. Thursday night football last night. I think the 3 of us watched a combined 0 seconds.
Yeah, 0 minutes, 0 seconds.
Did not get my Amazon Prime fired up last night. I was too involved in baseball.
Yeah. It was Denver on the road in New Orleans, and the Broncos moved to 4-3 after taking down New Orleans 33-10. Sean Payton, his return to the Superdome, and really the only thing that I took away from that game was I have the Denver Broncos defense on my fantasy team, and got a touchdown, 2 fumble recoveries, and only 10 points.
You just found that out moments ago.
Yeah,
like
surprise.
during the commercial
Oh, look,
break.
they got a touchdown.
That's how locked in I am.
They got fumble
in
recoveries.
fantasy
I
football.
am. You're well ahead of Sammy Lev in this week's fantasy football matchup. I mean, the Saints are devastated by injuries. They lost their quarterback, top 2 receivers in Olave and Rashid Shaheed. So it's not that stunning that they got bodied, but they got off to such a good start. They won their first 2 games big. And now they are 2-4, and people are saying that Dennis Allen could be the next coach to lose his job. I don't know if you deserve to lose your job when your team is riddled with injuries and you're not doing well.
Got to
but
blame somebody.
You do have to blame somebody, and I'm sure it stung. So they inducted Drew Brees into the Saints Hall of Fame last night. Not a fun game to do it. When you're getting your butt kicked, and your old coach is the one doing the butt kicking of you. Not a fun game.
You know, he was elated.
Yes, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Bo Nix, pretty good quarterback. He's playing pretty well.
He's doing okay. I mean, he's not. I don't think he had like 100.
16 for 26 for 164 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
All right, well, game manager.
It was at least an excuse for someone to post on Twitter. Jim Mora and one of his legendary post-game speeches. Can I send this to you, Paulie? I think it was edited. There was a bit of cursing in it, but I loved this. And I don't know.
Just hold your phone up to the microphone.
No, I sent it to Paulie. I believe this is the one. He was of course famous for the playoffs.
The best.
You don't necessarily see the brutal honesty from coaches anymore, and you kind of miss it a little bit. You wish you would get it. I mean, Mike Schultz, brutal honesty.
Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Always one of my absolute
the greatest
favorites. But
I should hope we win a game. All right. If there's any curse words in this,
it's on you.
It's on Ben.
It's on me.
Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked. Or the second half, we just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass torn.
Because I think there is a curse coming up. You don't get coaches like that anymore.
Fantastic.
It's just so fantastic, isn't it?
I think they're afraid of losing. You're afraid of losing the locker room and afraid of losing your job.
That was pretty much the Saints. That was the Saints last night, though, against the Broncos. Jim Mora. I love it.
Got the ball and went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half.
It's about as good as it gets.
All right. Moving on to the NBA, former San Diego State standout, Kawhi Leonard.
Man, dude, every year you see this tweet come out.
Every single year, right around this time, mid-October, Kawhi Leonard out indefinitely, sidelined with he's continuing to rehabilitate his right knee. He just can never seem to stay healthy. I saw a clip of Stephen A. Smith absolutely
They
torched him this morning.
How do you torch a guy for being hurt?
Well, he said he's the worst superstar of all time and that he's always healthy heading into a contract year, which...
Ooh. So you like Anthony Rendon, maybe?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look if he's really only been healthy on going into contract years. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is a damn good basketball player, but he just cannot seem to stay on the court. I don't want to say he's not trying to get back onto the court. I think that would be irresponsible.
I would speculate, and this is just my speculation, but we know Kawhi Leonard from so far back at San Diego State. What was with Kawhi? Oh, yeah, he's there at like 6 a.m. working hard, like 3 practices a day, working out incessantly, always wanting to get better. And he was obviously he was praised for it. And it turned him in from a San Diego State freshman who no one really knew into a lottery pick, an NBA champion, a defensive player of the year. But my suspicion is he worked himself to death.
Yeah,
like you only have so much mileage on your knees, and he spent it all just in the gym at the Jam Center, or, practicing, or I don't know if they have the Jam Center built yet, but he worked so hard that I think he's torched his body.
That's what I tell my wife when she asks me why haven't you been going to the gym? Well, it's all the work I had already put in.
Torched.
I've only got so many innings left in these legs. So.
It's kind of true. I mean, my brother and my dad have played basketball for years, and they are constantly dealing with
in pain.
All kinds of joint and everything. And I'm like, I played golf for a while, but my joints are doing okay at this point.
It's got to be frustrating, man, to be, it's frustrating for him. It's frustrating for the organization, because it's like the fans are just like, oh, God.
He's made a lot of money, and you just have not gotten
the best of them.
Much of a return on all of the money that Kawhi Leonard has made. They said he had a setback when he was working out with Team USA in Las Vegas back in July before the Olympics, and it's just like out indefinitely, no timetable on his return.
You'd hate to not let him do things like that, I mean, and I think there's probably some fans that say, well, you don't need to be doing extra stuff. You need to be worried about the Clippers basketball. They pay your salary, but it's hard to tell a guy you can't go play for your country too. So it's just it's one of those sports dilemmas, man. We always talk about it. Like these are the risks with signing guys to huge money long term.
Tough for the Clippers though, in that Paul George had to go, financial reasons. Kawhi's hurt, so now they basically have James Harden doing the whole show for their new Intuit Dome that's opening up. And, Harden by himself has never really been very good.
Well, we'll see what the G League team has to provide
That's
over their
true.
Front Wave Arena.
San Diego Clippers.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, and then finally, we have a very awful and sad story to get to.
We didn't
missed
get to it
yesterday, but we do have to get to a shout-out to his family.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
This one There's a lot of layers to this story.
So many layers.
I did not know much about Liam Payne.
Question, Ben, have you ever heard of Liam Payne when he passed away?
I had not.
Had you heard of One Direction?
I have heard of One Direction.
Harry
As a
Styles
boy band. Harry Styles I have heard of.
Yeah,
he
was
was
in that.
in One Direction.
Yeah. So Liam Payne was one of the members of the former band One Direction. They all went off and did their own things. He was actually in
So
Argentina.
they went in different directions? Sorry. I'm sorry. This is a sad story. Sorry. Don't stop the music. That makes it sound worse. I'm sorry.
50 more minutes.
They all went off in their own directions.
They did.
Sorry.
You good?
Yeah, go
Got
ahead.
that out of your
Yeah,
system?
Yeah, I just turn off my microphone for a while.
Sam says this is live on radio, by the way.
God. Sorry. Yeah. This is my bad. It's my bad. It's Friday. It's my only excuse. It's my general Friday excuse. My brain is mush at this point in the week.
It was a clever joke. Some people might be ill-timed.
It's very ill-timed. I apologize for the timing of what was otherwise a somewhat
a very sad,
witty comment. Yes.
Well,
Paulie,
the story.
to be fair, Paulie hasn't gotten into the sad part of the story at all yet.
That's also true. It's also true.
Yes, that's true. He's dead.
He died.
Dang, that was bad, Paulie. I just made a funny joke and you bring down the whole room. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Yeah, he died on Wednesday in Argentina. He was in Argentina to watch a show from one of his former bandmates. Was having a concert there.
How do you say that guy's name?
Nile.
Nile. Horan.
Not Niles.
Nile.
Just Nile.
N-A-I-L-L.
Like the river in Egypt.
Right, but it's spelled differently. Nile Horan. He was performing, so he went to see him, had his girlfriend with him.
Yeah, and I was reading. I've seen so many different reports.
I don't know why
story.
I went down this rabbit hole, but I did for some stupid reason.
I was reading like his girlfriend was there, and then she left because she thought it was just like a little vacation.
Yeah,
it turned into like a 3-week trip.
Yeah,
and
she left.
They were staying in this hotel.
She went back to Florida,
and some of the reporting on his actual death was very weird and not good. TMZ they broke the story that he fell from a hotel balcony.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it was an accident now.
Oh, I think it was. I think it was like drug-induced, maybe? Alcohol-induced?
I don't know that.
You think it was suicide?
I mean, I don't think he fell. I think he might. I don't know. But
Somebody-
TMZ posted a picture of the body.
Yeah, they posted
just
a
an
picture of his
arm.
arm. And you're like,
It's like, oh, there's his tattoos. I'm like, nobody needed to see that.
Yeah, we believe you. We believe
you. Could have just told us what happened.
We believed
believe
you when you said that he fell or whatever.
He had a lot of demons, from what I've read.
Wasn't particularly a great.
A lot of battles. Was
great
not a
dude
great
at the end.
Yeah, and dead at 31.
Shout out to his family. He's got a son, 7 years old. Broke my heart. That always makes me sad, but yeah.
Shout out to his family.
It's a good joke, Ben.
Hope you feel good.
Not
about
as
that
bad
one.
as the one Jameson made. I can't even say that one.
We can't say that one on the air. How did Megan take it?
Same as anybody else. I don't know.
No.
She wasn't a big.
She likes One Direction.
No, she doesn't.
I saw her tweeting about it.
She likes Harry Styles.
All right, well, he was in One Direction until they went.
You like Harry Styles.
Different direction.
I do like Harry
So
Styles.
you liked One Direction.
No, I liked Harry Styles' solo record.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, he had one song that I really liked. Sign of the Times. It was really good. Like, very, very good. And then he did some dumb album called Watermelon Sugar. And so I tried to listen to that, and I went, well, that's terrible. Now you're back to One Direction.
He came out with one since then. We have the record at home.
Yeah.
Harry's House.
The boy band phenomenon.
Hated it.
So a lot of them were basically almost like corporate, like creations. Like, hey, we need to come up with something that's going to be a hit with the teen set.
Sure, let's get
some good-looking guys together. They don't need to be great musically. We'll handle the music essentially for them, and they just have to go and dance and do routines and sound decent, and with our marketing, we will turn them into something big.
Yeah.
And obviously people who are like authentically music fans, that's not going to be something that you appreciate that much.
Yeah.
But then there are some boy bands that actually were like genuine, right? Like that were legitimate, like musical artists. Like what's the one that Justin Timberlake was in?
He was in Sync.
In Sync. But Justin Timberlake is musically talented, at least, right? It's in some sense.
Yeah.
He went on to have a career.
Yes.
Good music career.
Nobody else in that, I don't think.
But I guess
anybody
Harry
else
Styles
really
did somewhat as well. So
I think a lot of One Direction all went off and had their own individual careers.
Big
whereas like
careers.
I don't think many of NSYNC guys did a whole lot. Certainly not like what Justin Timberlake did.
No, but
Yeah, I
they're
remember-
back together, I think, touring.
Jay
weren't they?
Menudo, I remember when I was a kid.
Oh, Menudo was huge. when we
Menudo
were
was
kids.
huge.
Good God. I used to buy like the
That old Saturday morning cartoon
They
spot
did, dude.
thing, too, that I
Yes.
remember.
Yes, Menudo was massive. I used to buy those teen magazines, and because I liked Alyssa Milano, and she was always in them, and Nicole Eggert and all them. So I would get those when I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10. And it was always Menudo in there.
Which is an odd name when you think what Menudo is. It's a soup made out of intestines.
Yeah.
And that's what they named their band.
Yeah.
Menudo.
It's true.
They were huge. Absolutely.
Rod said he's a crisscross kind of guy. Yeah, I liked crisscross remember when we were kids. Jump.
Jump.
Yeah, that's great.
Crisscross will make you jump. Jump.
The Mac Daddy
Will
make you jump. That's great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Was that a boy
Don't
band? That
try
was
to
more of
compare
a
us.
hip
It
hop
was like
duo. or a-
brothers, I think. Weren't
Yeah.
they? Were they brothers?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Was
All
it-
right.
I don't know that I'd call them a boy band.
No, they were boys in a band, but I think they were like a brother. Like Jackson 5. Would you call them a boy band? I would.
Oh.
They were a family.
Yeah.
The Partridge family.
Damaged family.
Very damaged family.
If the Jackson 5 came out in 1999, they'd probably have been labeled a boy band.
Probably.
In
But
that
I think
era.
because it's family, it's different than like just
Were the
putting-
girls in the band too, though? Like Latoya, and it was not just a boy band.
I think it
No,
was
they
just
weren't.
the
It was
boy
just the
band.
boys.
Yeah, I think it was. I think the Jackson 5 was just like
Tito, Jermaine, Michael. So Janet and
Go
Latoya
on.
weren't the other five?
I don't think so.
There were the two other guys in the Jackson family.
Tito, Jermaine, Michael. Why am I forgetting this?
I can hear the typing going on as we Google who was in the Jackson.
There's Randy.
five. Randy.
Was it Randy?
Marlon.
Marlon. Wow. The
forgotten-
forgotten Jacksons.
Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Michael.
The girls didn't even get to be a part of it.
No, they were little.
They
Janet
both
was
had their
little.
own.
Yeah, they had their
Janet
own.
was huge, obviously.
Yeah, I think Latoya did a erotic film, if I'm not mistaken, something to that nature.
All right. Well, why don't we just
We'll
end
table
it there?
this. Yeah,
There was some.
let's table it.
There were some highs and lows in that round of report. I was definitely responsible for some of the lows. I won't alibi that. I've learned from Mike
just wanna
Schill.
go home.
Won't alibi that.
All right, we're about to replay you our favorite interviews of the year. We'll see you guys Monday.
I will come back strong with my college football Super Saturday lineup when we come back after traffic here on 97.3 The
All right, here we go. Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
All right, didn't get a call from Adam or Michael during that break, so I think either I'm okay or maybe they're waiting until after the show to discipline me for my comments. I apologize again.
For what? That was a funny joke.
Yeah, I was inappropriate. I get it.
It could have gone way worse.
All right, you ready for a little college football Super Saturday lineup for you?
I am.
I know you're going to watch baseball, but we're not. Are we guaranteed baseball tomorrow or not? If the Dodgers win today, that series is over. I guess we will definitely have a Game 5 between the Yankees and the Guardians tomorrow.
5:08
Saturday,
p.m.
Yeah, that's guaranteed. So we will have a 5 o'clock game. But the rest of the day, though, if you want to spend it watching college football, you can. No San Diego State. They're on a bye this week. We do have some national games. And in the morning, it's not the best of selections. I will say the best game at 9 a.m., probably your Woods, number 6 ranked Miami Hurricanes visiting Louisville as they try to, the Canes try to remain undefeated. I know you are a Giant fan. Sitting in that chair, how could you not be, of the Hurricanes?
I think it's your chair, actually.
Is it my chair?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that why?
That's why.
I have an affinity for, Michael Irvin or?
Uh-huh.
whatever it is. So I also
Jimmy Johnson used to coach there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also an odd game at 9 a.m., and this is the downside of college football realignment. Perhaps the most unusual conference game in the history of college football. You've got UCLA at Rutgers, and that is a conference game between a team that's, I think, 1-5 from Los Angeles visiting a team that's like 2-4 from New Jersey at 9 a.m. on the West Coast on FS1. That's the downside.
So it's not at Rutgers; it's at UCLA.
No, it's at Rutgers.
Oh,
they're in New
okay,
Jersey.
but they're playing
where are they? Piscataway, New Jersey. I think Rutgers plays somewhere around there. They got to go across the country to play a game that nobody cares about.
No one cares about.
That is technically a Big Ten conference game between two teams that could not scream less Big Ten. I mean, than UCLA and Rutgers.
Fair
Yet
enough.
both of them technically are in the Big Ten and playing a Big Ten game. Newark, New Jersey, not Piscataway. All right, 12:30.
You just made the name of that place up. I've never even heard of Piscataway.
Sure,
You've never
sounds
heard
good
of
to me.
Piscataway, New Jersey?
Mm-mm.
What's it? Find out. Look up Piscataway. There's something in Piscataway.
Piscataway.
Yeah.
How do you even
made that
spell
up.
that?
Piscataway, I think. Piscataway.
Probably a golf course. Let's be honest.
That's probably
That's
true.
probably what it is.
12:30. Also on ABC, number 7 Alabama at number 11 Tennessee in an
that's a good
SEC game. So this is critical because both teams have one loss, which means the team that loses kind of takes that critical second loss that at least drops them onto the playoff bubble. This is the first year we got the 12-team playoff. You're not out of it with 2 losses, but like USC with 3 losses, they're in deep trouble at this point. Alabama maybe can survive 2 losses. Tennessee, I don't know if they can. It's Tennessee at home. I think the Crimson Tide are very slight favorites. They had their hands full last week with South Carolina after they had the upset loss against Vanderbilt, but they have the win over Georgia. So, Alabama's kind of an interesting story. And
That's
then,
a good-ass game right there.
it's a good game. And then the game of the day, unfortunately, same time as the baseball, 4:30 on ABC. Number 5, Georgia at number 1, Texas.
God.
This is the good side of college football realignment because this is an SEC game.
That's a
It seems like
banger.
every week we're getting these huge matchups.
Yeah. No
and
complaints.
This is another one. It's UGA versus Bevo. This is a chance for Texas to really separate themselves as the clear-cut number 1 team in the nation, and this is a chance for Georgia to completely bounce back from that loss to Alabama and make their case for being the number 1 team in the country. So absolutely huge game in Austin at 4:30, and that, again, is an ABC game. Not much at night. The late game, probably the 7 o'clock game on CW, UNLV, Oregon State. Rebels are 5-1. Beavers are 4-2. If you're really desperate for college football late at night, that's probably your best late option on a college football Super Saturday lineup from Ben Higgins.
Pretty decent, buddy. Pretty decent.
Georgia, Texas is, that one's going to be. That one's going to be huge.
That's nasty.
Texas is favored.
Yep, by 4.5. Whew, man,
tough. I mean, you feel like at least in recent years, screams Georgia is going to go in there and just heartbreak Texas, but after Georgia lost to Alabama, you wonder, maybe they're not.
And Texas has been handling teams. They handled OU, no problem. No sweat. Didn't even break a sweat.
Maybe Adams' punishment for his errors this week.
Oh, the Georgia loss.
Is a Georgia loss.
I'll bet against Adam, actually. I'll do that. I'll take that right now.
Oh,
4.5? Done.
Texting us right now. Thanks for mentioning that Texas UGA is an ABC game. Oh, it is also on 97.3 The Fan, Adam says. Well, Adam, I didn't know that. There was no memo. So you can actually listen to Georgia, Texas here on 97.3 The Fan. I just found that out right now. So
also the home
4:30
of Navy
kickoff.
football.
Yeah, I know we have
30.
I hear the Navy promos all the time, and they're undefeated. They're a good Navy team this year. But we will have that major college football matchup for you here on 97.3 The Fan
I love
tomorrow.
it. Can't wait for college football Saturday since there's just one baseball game to watch potentially on Saturday.
What about Woods' soccer Saturday, though?
I'm in the chamber.
We will talk about that. Final segment of Men and Woods and why Woods is heading into a weekend that he was not looking forward to. Coming up next here on 97.
You didn't read how Adam actually wrote the text in the passive-aggressive manner.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
You glazed over.
You glazed over that. Here's how Adam, our boss, who absolutely crapped the bed with that promo and our show today, Said, thanks for mentioning the Texas UGA is an ABC game without mentioning it's a 97.3 game. Wow.
They made a promo. Texas has neutered the Bulldogs again.
Only on Channel 10, ABC. You can't find it anywhere else. Wow. Why are you taking bullets for that guy right now?
I don't know.
I don't either. Wow.
By the way, Rutgers does spill into Piscataway, New Jersey. And the stadium is in Piscataway. Thank you very much.
Got a break.
It's actually in Piscataway. With Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
What a train wreck.
Well, Woods just spent most of the commercial break opening a delivery that we just received here at our Odyssey studios. Woodsy, what did we get?
Got a few Dodger fans that are in my mentions that I chat with. We run smack against each other, right? And I think, I can get a little spicy on there. They can get a little spicy. We get a little spicy with each other. But I think all in good fun. And I got a DM this morning from one of them. He said, "Hey, go check the front. We have a delivery for you." And I go, "Are you kidding me? Is this a chocolate penis or something? Like, is this going to happen?" So I go out and I look and I said, "Well, that's a big box of flowers." And
1-800-Flowers right across the box.
Sure enough, I get a bouquet of roses. And they are Dodger blue. And
Now, is that their natural color, or do they paint them that way?
They paint them, Ben. You can't. You GMO things.
Well, you can. That's why I was wondering whether
I think they're painted.
They're painted or they're real. But they're very blue.
They're Pantone blue. So they sent us flowers.
Ah, yes. But the joke's on them, because if we just leave those here until the start of next season, by spring training, you know what color they'll be?
Brown. That's exactly right. The card says, "Our condolences from your Dodger Twitter friends." Son of a. You know what? You can't even be mad. That's very creative. And thank you guys.
They are
they're very
hideous, actually,
would
I would say.
Either of you guys want to take these home to your wife?
I feel like, I'd love, a free gift that I don't have to pay for.
We know.
If I thought that it was going to, score me some points, I would absolutely have no qualms about taking that home.
Roses don't score you points?
No, those are hideous.
Not blue ones.
Those are really, really hideous looking.
Yeah, they are.
Don't you think?
I bought flowers yesterday randomly.
Adam will take them back for his wife.
So I'm good.
Probably.
Yeah. Hey, I got you some flowers.
Can you bring them up to my house and drop them off?
Hey, if you're not doing anything later, yeah. Well, it's a class move. Listen, I got to tip my hat when give credit where credit's due. That is a very class move.
The question of Moot said they put dye in the water, and that then changes the color of the petals.
That makes sense.
Interesting. I'm not a florist, so I don't really know the details of how it works.
But no, that's a thank you, gentlemen. I would say that it eases the sting of the loss, but it doesn't. It actually makes it worse. So I think that was their point. But think about the things that they could have sent through the mail. It could have gotten so much worse. I've gotten worse things from Dodger fans in the mail. You guys have seen them.
Flowers are always a classy gift, even if it's made in jest and as a booby prize of sorts.
I love when you say booby prize. And I never had heard that phrase until we started doing
We've
this.
Never heard that
never
phrase.
Heard it. Remember, you said it on our old station.
Yeah.
And you said, I don't know, it's like getting a booby prize. And I go, what? We had like a full stop
Booby
down.
prize.
We had a full stop down.
Well, you were very excited.
I was
the
excited.
idea of a
booby prize
was very intriguing to us.
But
it's not what you think it is.
What's a better prize than that? I'd like to get a booby prize later. But I don't think
it's not that.
But it's not that. Though. What is it? Like a booby trap?
It's
also sounds like a great trap.
It's like a parting gift. Like you were hoping to win the big grand prize, and you were left with just
you won like the gift bag. Instead of the big trip.
You remember in like old school Wheel of Fortune, before they just gave money, you had to go shopping with your wins after each round. And you won $1,100, and they'd buy, I'll take the TV and I'll take the stereo, and then they had like $72 left, and they always had to buy the clay Dalmatian. There was like a clay Dalmatian, and I'll take the Dalmatian. That's the booby prize at the end.
It's so funny. What a great phrase. Booby prize.
Booby prize.
Is that what like booby trap? Right?
I think so. Yeah, okay. Booby trap.
Booby.
It's not like a deathly bad thing. It's just a
booby trap. Just gets you for a second.
It just kind of gets you for a second.
Well, thank you guys. I still hope you guys lose to the Mets and, potentially.
Was that addressed to Ben and Woods or just Woods?
I think it was just to me.
Okay, good.
I think it was just to me. You guys are safe. Oh, no, it's Ben and Woods.
All of us.
It's actually addressed to Ben and Woods and Woods.
We never said they were the brightest. fan base.
That's great. That's great. Hey, that's a kind gesture. I know it's not meant to be kind or thoughtful, but it is much enjoyed. Thank you. I will leave them in here.
You're getting the coaching booby prize this weekend, apparently, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that right after our last check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Well, guys, not too bad of a wrap-up on our roads. The southbound side of the 15, just past Scripps Poway Parkway, we have reports of a stalled vehicle kind of over to the right shoulder of the HOV lane, and there is some tire tread in lanes as well to watch out for. Also, southbound 125 near Hamishaw, reports of some concrete debris in middle lanes. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, I'm appreciative of a good bit. I always am very appreciative of a good bit. So I do appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Means a lot.
So we've heard you talking about your foray into baseball coaching.
Yeah.
You've got
Love
your
it.
machine pitch, and you did your T-ball. And you even had to coach a little bit of basketball, didn't you, at one point? Didn't your kids have a basketball that you...
No,
they didn't
went
do
to
basketball?
clinic,
They went to
but
clinic. You
I
didn't
just
have to coach
I
that
just
one.
went to watch.
Right. But now, this weekend only?
Yeah.
One time only. Soccer coach Woods, soccer manager Woods.
Yeah, manager on the pitch.
Yeah.
In our kids.
How did this happen?
The coach is leaving town, and
All of them?
There's one main coach, and she is leaving town, and then some of the other people that were next in line are also going to be out of town, and so it fell down and down and down and down to me and Hannah, and so now Hannah and I will be managing the team on Saturday, and this is not.
Could it have fallen any lower? Like, were you guys the last?
I think we were the
resort?
last. I do think we were.
Like forfeit, or you guys coach?
Also, many of the children will be away this weekend. We have a team of 11, and there will only be 7 on the pitch, which is the exact number of players that you need to have on the pitch. So don't worry about hurting feelings. Your kid's going to play.
So you don't have to do any substitutions
I couldn't if I wanted to.
Exactly.
I don't have.
Well, it makes the job easier.
Yes, but it makes it harder for the little kids that have to run for their 20-minute halves.
It's good exercise.
It is. It is. But I have no earthly idea what I'm doing out there. None whatsoever. And this league is pretty competitive. It's pretty competitive. And the dads out there, from what I've seen, take it very, very seriously. Much like they do in Pinto, much like they do in Friday Night Lights football. They take it very seriously. And so I'm going to look like a buffoon out there with my wife, who also knows nothing about soccer. I mean, it's probably pretty even playing field between she and I. We have no idea what we're doing, and we have to manage the team. And I don't know what kids are coming. I have no idea. Don't know where to put them. Don't know how to line them up. Now, I go to all the games. I watch. You think I should have paid better attention. I don't know when to do a goal kick or a corner kick.
The referees will handle that.
There's no referees. The parents are the referees.
Oh,
We're all out there running around with whistles. Oh, it's a handball.
so
I have no idea.
So goal kick is when it goes out over the end line.
That's the back line.
Yeah, like the offensive team touches it last. If the defensive team touches it and it goes over the back line, then it's a corner kick.
Corner kick, okay.
All right. Anything on the sides is just a throw in,
okay.
and that's the other team that didn't touch it last gets to throw it in. Do you understand the offsides rule?
They don't call it.
They don't call offsides.
No, they do not call offsides in this. You can cherry pick all day.
Really?
And I'm actually pissed that none of my kids do it.
You got to exploit that.
Yeah.
That's probably rule one. We've got a kid that's a really good scorer, and I'm like, he's also really little. We don't need you on defense. We have Bo. We have Cal. We have big guys that can go out and play defense. Cherry pick your ass down there and see if we can boot one down to you and go down and score. The kid's an elite. He scored 4 goals in one game. He's elite. His name's Connor. He's a stud. But Connor, I don't need you to play defense. I need you to score goals. So cherry pick. Let's exploit the offsides.
You don't need to be big in soccer. Now, you need a couple of bigger players for like the headers in front, but at that level, you're not going to have the high-skying balls in front of the net.
But he's little. He's like
little's
little.
fine. Little's fine.
Yeah, for scoring.
Messi ain't a big dude. You can be pretty little and still succeed at soccer for sure.
So somebody said, just Woodsy run the, what does he say? 3-5. 3-3-4. That's 10 players, though. We only have 7. 7 are on the pitch.
Well, 3-2-3.
2-2-3.
No, 2-2-3. Yeah, there you go.
3.
Or you could do the old 3-1-3. Have one the midfielder, like 3 up.
What about the goalie?
Oh, that's a good point. So you really have 6.
6.
Yeah.
6 people running.
All right, well, then it's the 2-2-2.
Or the 3-3. I don't have the foggiest idea.
1-2-1-2 sounds good.
Okay,
you got
one,
a
two,
striker up front,
and
then 2 wings behind them,
and
then a midfielder, and 2 defenders. I like the 1-2-1-2.
Where's the goalie again?
In the goal.
Is that 7?
That's the 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
2-1-2?
1-2-1-2.
1-2-1-2.
And then the goalie.
Okay.
That's 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Put your best player as the striker in front.
Okay.
And then you got 2 good passers on the wings trying to get it to the striker. Got the midfielder. Now he's in charge of trying to get it up from the defenders to the
coach,
offense.
Actually, what are you doing tomorrow at like 10 in the morning?
Good point.
Come out and coach.
Actually, I have one of our tier 1s, Mel, is coming out to do some junk removal for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Finally getting cleaned up at our house.
Gonna let the tier 1s get a look inside your junk.
We've never seen your garage.
I've never seen your garage.
It's clean
But
now.
tier 1 is gonna
We
be-
mostly cleaned the garage. Now we just got to get rid of a couch and some outdoor furniture.
Now, here's what I need you to do. DM Woodsy and I
Pictures. I need
separately.
pictures of everything that you find.
It was bad a couple of weeks ago, for sure. The garage was a mess. Now it's somewhat acceptable.
Yeah, so that'll be happening.
We do have a mouse
tomorrow.
problem, though, we've discovered. So we're going to Home Depot today for traps and caulk and...
Excuse me?
Well, because they get in through the walls, so you have to put the caulk in the walls to make sure the mouse can't get back in. You want to keep them from making
There it was. Glory hole.
You want to make sure that the holes are filled with caulk so the mouse doesn't have a place to go and hide. What? That's what it's called. Why are you laughing? I got a text. Shelly said we need to go and buy some caulk.
You're going on a caulk hunt today.
Yes.
Over at Home Depot.
Yeah. And then we're gonna put the caulk in the hole that we have in our wall.
I've always wanted to do that. Hannah won't let me. There was some caulking that needed to be done in our shower, and I really wanted to do it, and she would not. She refused to let me do it. Yes,
you apply it with
amazing.
like
the gun,
or at least it almost looks like the thing you use to inflate a basketball, but instead it's like the caulking gun.
It's the caulking gun, but there was like we had some little holes like in the old caulk.
Yeah.
Because you want new caulk. If you get a chance to get new caulk instead of old caulk.
Yeah.
And Hannah is unfortunately stuck with old caulk in the shower. And so I asked her, could I go out and do it? And she said no. She said no. She wanted a professional to do it. So
she just went down to Home Depot.
Yeah, she went down to Home Depot,
got her own stuff,
and let her rip.
So I have that to look forward to this weekend, but that
sounds
I
like
can't
another
coach your
banger.
soccer team.
It sounds like another banger
doesn't it?
weekend at the Higgins household.
Totally.
That was great.
We have time for things Ben likes. Still here, Paulie? 90 seconds or so.
Do the short one.
He's working on it. That's okay. Give
me 1 second.
We've used pretty much all of our time for this week and desperately looking for a trap door.
That was so
You are unbelievable.
to get out of
It's
this.
just the way he said it.
Unbelievable.
The way he said it.
Such conviction.
Oh, man.
I like the tanginess of the cranberry. I like reflecting. I like old-time rock and roll, too. You know I do. I like NIL. I like my standard, very uninteresting haircut. I do like hearing people talk about how well it's going for the Padres. I like numbers. Oh, I like the bits. I like to be educational. I like when I get up, have a glass of cranberry-juiced cocktail. I like Adam Major. I do like butterscotch. I like your tweets a lot. I still like this deal. I like to live my life after another famous Benjamin Button. I like when the Padres take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. I would have liked to have tried something else. I like Darren. I've always liked Darren. I like watching LeBron and Anthony Davis. Sex by the fire at night, that's what I like. I like Jake Cronenworth. The last couple of days, I've really liked his swings. I do like horses. I like the Padres lineup. I like when things just flow perfectly. But I like Indian food. I just like a good, honest answer. I've liked what I've seen from Donovan Solano so far. I like that idea. I like 18 games in 18 days. You know, I like where the Padres are. I like that we won as a team.
I do
all
too.
of us together. I like to picture people actually in a recording studio. I like the way the Padres play baseball. What I like is the variety of the wins.
Yeah.
I liked everything about this week.
I didn't like much about this
Yeah,
week.
that's a good
If I'm
point.
being completely honest.
Not a good week.
There was not a whole lot that I did like.
Well, we're going to turn the page on Monday morning and start looking ahead. Padres, I'd assume we're going to carry it live, but we'll get you the details as we move forward. Padres GM and President of Baseball Operations, A.J. Preller, will be doing his end of the season Zoom with the media at 11 a.m. on Monday.
The post-mortem, if
the
you will.
post-mortem and the look ahead to the offseason and 2025, and AJ's going to wrap things up. So make sure you're tuned in Monday morning to Annie and Elston, and of course we'll be reacting to that on Tuesday morning. But I hope everybody has a really good weekend.
Have fun with your call.
Good luck with your soccer coaching.
Thank you.
Paulie, you have a nice weekend as well, and we will be back on Monday morning at 6 a.m. Until then, for Paul Ryle and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Friday. Annie and Elston coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Have a great weekend, everybody.